Let me set the record straight for a minute. Hate, I get it. Say it.
I want to know if he's bunking up with Tyrrell, and if he's the big spoon or the little spoon. I think he'd be little spoon just out of principle, because Tyrrell's kind of, he's got the elderly gravitas.
Envy, he's the peanut gallery. They all jelly.
Yeah, and that's true. And using those key stats, they are the key things that we've used to pick out our emergency. I don't appreciate the laughing, because I recognize how fumbled that was, and I lost my train of thought. But anyways, back to the emergency.
No.
Wait, what was that?
I like that you came back to start it off fresh. We're gonna do it live, damn it. 3, 2, 1.
Real legend never die. Still with the finish, you should try, let it lie. Side 4-9, that's Korea suicide.
What's happening, everybody? We're doing through here, aka Mr. Gallagher. We are coming to you live from Gate City Casino to watch the final round covered Masters here. Joined as always, Bud Hoagland. As you can see here, Bud Hoagland is actually live with me right next to me here. Look at that. Here we go.
We're gonna try not to touch me.
We're going to be watching the Masters here live to you react as it goes on. And just a quick update here. Scotty Scheffler already 8 under. Murray, Max Homa coming up in the corner. That's my pick today. Max Homa is 2 on 1 games. That's what we're going. That's good. Can you hear me?
Hard.
Excuse me, sir. That's not better.
How do I sound? I mean, let's speak about more important things.
You sound fine.
Yeah, tune in for the dulcet tones of John Rahm finally showing up to the Masters. I mean, it's only Sunday afternoon. The Champions Dinner apparently was really good. A lot of Basque-infused or Basque-inspired it's something Spanish inspired dishes. All I saw on social media was basically raw meat. The guy looked like he was taking a raw tomahawk steak and carving it off of these little slivers and putting it on the plate. Since then, he's been MIA. I'm glad he made the cut for morale purposes. I think he misses the PGA Tour, and I think he misses all his friends. But we won't go down that rabbit hole too much, other than to say, I saw in the show notes you wanted to know about or opinions.
I got a Florida topic for you.
What's that?
Florida topic. So I want to know, as a former Floridian, I want to know the scale of 1 to 10, how Florida this clip is on. Shimmer streets are walking the game of it, RC as well. I know. So, I can get myself.
Let's just roll with it. Who knows? Yeah, let's talk Florida to me.
Yeah, let's play this clip real fast. I want to know how Florida scale wants to how Florida is this clip right here. This thing is helping me too.
A Florida woman named Crystal Methvin was just arrested for possession of crystal meth. The St. Augustine Police Department says that officers got a tip a woman was sitting in a car on the side of the highway. When they arrived, Methvin didn't have a driver's license. The search turned up crystal meth in a plastic bag, as well as more unused bags in her purse. Officers told CBS in Jacksonville that they believe she was selling the drugs. She now faces a third-degree felony charge for possession of meth and is being held on $5,000 bond. Matt Uris for CBSMiami.com.
Yeah, that's me. $5,000 bond. That sounds like stupidly off for myself there. When I saw that clip, the first thing that came to my mind was exactly what I said. This is Florida. In about 30 seconds. Would you agree? Because you came from close to the Jacksonville, and you were kind of living for right?
I would say the only thing that from a 0 to 10 scale, that's probably like 7.9. I'd say borderline 8 because I've been gone so long, so times might have changed. But that's a 7.9. The only thing that's shocking there is the St. Augustine part. St. Augustine's actually kind of nice. It's not as nice as some of the other parts that surrounded North and South. But, yeah, Crystal Methvin, I probably taught her in middle school or suspended her or something when I was a teen. But that's spot on. I was going to say that that could very just as easily have been Bumfoot Maine as well. I think Maine as a adopted New Englander, and I appreciate you allowing me to come out in public now and speak openly about my Florida heritage. As an adopted New Englander, I'll say that Maine is basically the Florida of the North, and I stand by that. Wait a minute, who's throwing darts? So Max Homa, this is the interesting thing. So let's talk back about golf for a second.
Yes.
Crystal Met in Florida. That's how you open the Masters Sunday special. You've been texting me for months about this specific moment, and you're like, I know where we're going first. Crystal Meth. It's Vern Lundquist. Hold on. Vern Lundquist is doing his 40th final Masters. Tiger Woods just wrapped up his 100th round. The Max Homa might break through. Colin Morikawa might actually get another step to his career Grand Slam. Scotty Scheffler might solidify himself as that guy. Him, as the kids would say, as him. Although they say that in church for different reasons, so I get confused. Not that I've been to church recently. And then you also have Bryson DeChambeau up there. When did Tommy Fleetwood get back in the mix? I'm curious about that. That's another story. He's got a local caddy this week because his guys looked up to sick, but Tommy's got a local caddy. So there's storylines everywhere. I think the only thing we can all agree on is that we don't want Bryson DeChambeau to actually win. I wouldn't mind seeing him play well. He's even a story too. He got 3D irons. They were approved on him Monday by the USGA. So it's an exciting season for golf. And then sneaky good. I didn't think it was going to happen. Big Aubert, your favorite new golfer. He could break the curse, but we haven't had a first-time winner since 1979, and now the first-time winner just at the Masters. This would be his major career. And Francis Bouvet, Ben Curtis, and Keegan Bradley are one of the guys to win majors in their first major. It's not just a Masters. So there's storylines north and south. I'm curious to hear how the Millie Goats are doing with their Millie Maker watch. And it's a struggle right now. Who's struggling? Am I struggling or are you struggling?
No. Getting so much back noise right now. And if you're going to have all these for how crazy what's going on.
Listen.
Yeah, myself.
No, I can't do shit. I mean, I can usually only hear what's inside my brain anyway, so that's nothing new. I was about to go down a rabbit hole about Tyrrell Hatton out of nowhere is under Jesus, take the wheel for a minute.
I don't want Bryson to win. That he's down and that for me. Bryson is not the guy that's getting in this tournament. I think what people are doing, they're all it's pretty smart. Yeah, he deserves that. He deserves credit for that. At the same time, he played it. On that first day of later start, he started to be big this bunch from here. That course was soft at that point than it was than after it was any other day this weekend so long. So we haven't had to pick up yet. After weekend, they give you those 30-mile-an-hour gusts on Wednesday. That's going to be 4 minutes. We get the 50-mile-an-hour gusts on the other day. So I think they should go. I would give credit. Took advantage of the situation. No one messed. And conditions are going to change, conditions are going to get harder. And you'll do what you need to do. It's a reason why it's not. And I think it's shown this weekend that you can be a lot more consistent and steady, and that's when you have to roll out the company. And you're going to be pretty sharp. You're going to be honest on your impression and where you take chances. And maximum has been of what it means the way I want to stay. And I'm going to be very overall, of course.
It is hard, and he's just chilling. And that's why I'm almost speaking. Scotty Scheffler wants to take over
I caught the first the last 5% of that. I didn't catch anything other than that because, yeah, it is an absolute fucking struggle in this place right now. You know why it was a real big struggle? I was talking in the wrong side of the microphone this entire time. This entire time, the wrong side of the microphone. I had it turned around. So real quick, do we have guests yet? No. So when I was going through TSA, no, you still sound like shit. So when I was going through TSA recently, a couple weeks ago, I was down in Atlantic City for that show. And when I came back, the woman in the Philadelphia airport did pull me out of TSA and check because of this microphone. So when I put it back together, I put it back backwards. It's a miracle that our Tuesday shows haven't reflected that, because I sounded okay there. I mean, I always look phenomenal, especially in Acorn Hills. TBFY 15 for 15% off. But wow, welcome to the show. Now, if we can only find the similar, because I still can't hear you for anything.
So I turn this up a little bit.
Yeah, but you understand you're supposed to be at the front of the microphone. So that's what we just discovered with mine.
Well,
So you
yes,
might need
I
a
have
different.
aesthetic
Yep.
on it.
Fuck your aesthetic. We can't hear anything. This is a
How's that?
podcast.
Is that better?
I'm talking about like.
Yeah, I know.
No, I don't know.
Is that
Man.
better?
I don't know.
I think it is just what it is.
It is what it is today.
We'll
All
play around with it. But hey, you mentioned yes, we do have our most experience back right now. Heath Fleming from ESPN Radio. From Florida. Yes, I know. We're going to be looking at it again. Right now, for Heath Fleming, they sorry to throw you on there. I just welcome to the program once again, and thank you for feedback. I apologize. Welcome to his podcast. My mic is too loud.
Keith, I got to know, Keith, are you in the same boat as I am right now? Can you hear either one of us?
I can hear you crystal clear. Not so much for Andrew.
Right. So let's chat it up. Keith, where are you in your Masters Sunday excursion? And where are you? First of all, thank you so much for taking time out of one of the holiest days in the golf calendar to spend a few minutes with a couple of schmucks like us talking out of a casino in a strip mall, which is a beautiful scene. Like I said, Bobby and
what
Cliff,
better place to be on a Sunday, right?
This is how they envisioned us celebrating the Masters. So how are you celebrating your Masters? How has your week been? And what has stood out to you most about this so far?
Well, we actually went down to Panama City. The host of Inside Drive on ESPN Northwest Florida has been battling cancer, involved in a tournament for him. We raised a bunch of money. It was a great event.
Hell yes.
Got to hang out, drink some beers down in Panama City, play some golf. We drove back super early this morning so I could watch the entire, Sunday round, because you got to do that. And I'm kind of conflicted because part of me wants Scheffler to win this, because it feels like if he does, we are kind of right in the midst of the next great run by a truly great player on the PGA Tour. And it's been a while since we've had one. But at the same time, like Morikawa wins, that's his third major. I love Homa. I'd love him to win. Adberg, to win your very first major start is just ridiculous. And the fact he got off to a slow start and then shot 3 under on Friday in just maybe the toughest conditions ever is kind of absurd. And I know I'm on the minority here, but I love Bryson. Like, I love everything about Bryson. I think that he's, fun, man. And he's different. He's weird. I get it, but he's a great golfer. And I think what he's doing is good for the game. He actually has a personality. Like, he goes out and, talks to people. And a lot of these guys are just robots, which is no fun.
I 1,000,000%. So where Bryson lives in my universe, and because if you paid attention at all to me in the last couple of weeks, especially in the mornings, I've given him a couple of lashings here and there. And I think it's because of his lack of awareness sometimes with some of the comments he makes. And I want to be like, hey, empathy, you don't get any of my sympathy right now, brother.
Right.
Keep doing your thing. I do think that a Bryson win today, while there's about 5 or 6 other storylines that I would rather see materialize, a Bryson win for the game writ large would be super interesting, because it would supercharge some of these conversations. He would get a little bit of that empathy and all that kind of stuff. I think he might get frozen out a little bit, kind of like John Rahm has, and he's found out the hard way, and he's starting to say,
grass is not greener, right? Like on the other side.
The money's more, but it's just as green. More of it doesn't make it any greener or spend any quicker or anything like that. I can't imagine if somebody from this casino walked up to me right now and said, here's $50 million, put down the microphone forever. To be honest, I'm not married to this microphone. I'm married to the game. But I can empathize with wanting to set up your family and, do the right thing. And so I do appreciate that he has not been vocal about wanting that sympathy. He's just been honest and vulnerable. Like, it's been hard. He's like, it's been harder than I thought, and I hope the game comes back together. So I genuinely hope the game comes back together as well. So I'm with you on the Bryson train. There's a lot of cool storylines. What is your favorite this time of year? First of all, Panama City. I grew up in Tallahassee, baby. I was 2 hours away. Yeah, Redneck Riviera, 100%.
Yes, sir.
And in the Southeast, especially back when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, the Masters was, I mean, you had the Daytona 500 and the Masters. Those, we did the Atlanta Braves, the Daytona 500, and the Masters. That was it. Outside of that, you had your college football team. There was no major sports,
And
really
the Bulldogs break your heart back in those days. It's not like it is today.
No, I went to UGA. I went to UGA, graduated in 05.
Go Dogs.
So, go Dogs. Damn right. And so this is kind of a holy day in the Southeast. Whether it's on the course or off the course, what is something that you always look forward to every year when Masters Week comes around?
I mean, I've been fortunate enough to get to go.
Shut the front door.
I mean, we've been lucky enough to have somebody with passes, and they're very gracious that they give. We usually go on Monday or Thursday, which I hate going to tournament rounds. Like, I hate to be that guy.
That's what I hear. No, that's what I hear.
I mean, it's just like it's so much more relaxed on the practice rounds. All the gear is there too, which the later in the week you get, if you want cool gear from the merchandise shop, it's gone. And I mean, it's hard to watch golf in person and truly get a feel of what's going on in the tournament. So as my dad says, that HD section, it's hard to beat, right? Like you see everything, you catch everything.
That HD section.
Right?
Hold on. For the Gen Zers and anybody younger flying by, was that a reference to being in real life? Was that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
I freaking love that. The HD section showing up live. Sorry, cut you off there.
No, you're good. And then the other thing I love is, I mean, Georgia is obviously not a cold place, but right when we get to the Masters, the weather's turned, meaning good weather for golf, going out, I hate the cold weather. That's part of the reason why I'm born and raised in the South. I don't want anything to do with it. And I know once the Masters is here, we're usually past all those freezing cold mornings.
The snaps are over.
Right. Yeah. It's like I would much rather be sweating my ass off than even just slightly cold.
So again, I grew up in Tallahassee. I'm from that area, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Greenville, South Carolina. That's my little triangle of youth. And I will say, coming up here to New England, I'm sweating. Next week is my first league round, and I'm sweating a frost delay. I'm going because one of the beautiful things is I've snuck into that holy spot of the first group out. I'm with a group of 4 or 5 other guys.
The best place to be, man.
The best. First one's out, and inevitably between the 5 of us, somebody's always out. So there's a great force in there, and we're always the first ones out. But if that frost delay hits, then Mama Bear gets a little upset at home if I'm not home at 10:30 like promised. No, I'm just kidding. It takes. If you are a golf person and you have loved ones, they understand, and it does take their patience. And so
they understand, but why do the wives never figure out? Like, my wife is amazing. Lets me play golf, do all this stuff, but she can never remember how long around it. What time are you going to be home? I'm like, baby, every weekend it's the same thing. It's about 6 hours from the time I leave to the time I get home. She was like, what time are you going to be done? What time are you getting home? I'm like, you know this. We've been together 12 years. Come on.
Everybody only has so much RAM upstairs, and this is where she gets mad at me, right? What do you mean you forgot that there's so and so's birthday party is next Saturday? I'm like, babe, did you not hear me this morning on my Instagram? Like, Horton Smith won the Masters on this day. I start going down the rabbit hole. So, shout out to all the golf wives and
amen
and girlfriends out there and partners, whatever your drink of choice is. All right. So speaking of that Masters moment, we talked about kind of like lifelong, what do you look forward to every year and who you want to win. Is there anything else from the development side of the game? You take 3 steps back. This is usually that State of the Union. This is golf's unofficial State of the Union. No disrespect to USGA and Mike Wan and the US Open and all that stuff. This kicks it off. Everybody shows up. There's that $140 million whatever media center that they have down there. So what is it? What is it? Something that you're taking away from the game this week? Trends or things to look out for the rest of the year?
The biggest thing is the game that I love is in trouble, and these fuckers need to figure this out. Like, figure it out. I'm over it. Like, the PGA played the moral card, and at the time, I understood. Like, there were some fair points to what they're saying, but they've proven they were hypocrites, and that's not what it was about. It's all about money. So at this point, they're just diluting the game on both sides, and people aren't watching live events. They're not watching regular PGA events. They've got to figure this out to where there's more than 4 events a year that the best golfers get together to play, or this game is going to die as a professional sport. Like, it is going to become like bowling.
Yeah, that is a phenomenal kind of analogy. And I love the way you said that as a professional sport, because I think what these folks have been a little spoiled about is they thought they owned the game.
Yep.
You don't know the
We
game.
own the game, not
We
you.
own the game. It's our game, and you put on a beautiful product for a very, very, very long time. But now we have more opportunities. We can watch it on YouTube. Hell, we can go out and just experience it and not sit at home and watch, no disrespect, the John Deere Classic. Wait, we've moved on. God, Darth Vader, we got to figure this out. We've moved on from shitting on John Deere, and we've moved on to something else. But you get what I'm saying. It's not as compelling and appealing as it used to be. So I do think we're going to be revisiting that kind of WGC conversation. And I appreciate how forward you did that comment about it's in trouble, because I like to be Pollyanna-ish. And hey, everything's it's in trouble. I mean, the writing's on the wall. So if we don't do something about it, and that's why a Bryson win could be good. I even said I forgive Patrick Reed 1 week a year. I forgive him for wearing a choker.
Top 10 bet I wear every year for this. He needs to get in there. I want that 5-1 odds that I laid.
And sneaky good coming down the stretch here this afternoon. Look out for Tommy Fleetwood. Fairway Jesus has that. That would be a sneaky good story with the local guy on the bag. How you doing?
Hear me now?
A little bit.
You have to make love to the microphone.
I'm just gonna get right up my. I was watching these Cowboys last game and dig into the Astros, and I think you approach kind of how you make your best your picks the same as me, and very stat driven and looking at the numbers to strong game. Like that's what I picked up watching your episode this week. And so I want to say I saw we had a very similar from Flair Talks where stats are being added specifically. Is there anything that surprised you? You speak as far as stage, maybe should have done better and then approaches that they get by more and scrambling that has anyone really stood out into
I mean, the biggest issue, honestly, with stats this week is the weather. Like, the weather has made it unlike any other. So all the research and stuff I did, like, I've already apologized to people who listen to our show this week. Like, our picks suck. I went off of data, and it all got thrown out the window the minute it was 40, 45 mile an hour wind gusts. One thing I will say, though, that has stood out, and it's the test of time at this event over and over again, is par 5 scoring. Scheffler 7 under on the par 5s. No surprise, that is lowest in the tournament. No surprise, he's winning the tournament, right? So some of these, it's just you have to eat the par 5s. They're basically the only easy holes, gimme holes you get at Augusta National, and his ability to, continue to make birdies there is the difference. Morikawa's done a good job. I think he's -5, and that's second of the guys like in the top 8. DeChambeau's only 3 under on the par 5s. Adberg, I think, is like 2 under. And I mean, that's honestly the difference between them right now being 3-5. Home, same deal. I think he's 2 under on the par 5, 6 under, and Scheffler, Morikawa are 7-6.
Well, that's not maybe the difference between Bryce and Homer's Bennett. Like I said earlier, where they're picking to be aggressive. Homer's going to seem to have been very specific. Like on my aggressive as they should. And yes, right, there's way 200 qualified, so that's not worked out. I mean, Bryce was then to aggressive in other areas, which, like I said, outside of the first round where he was facing the software that he wanted on the ball, he's not been able to do that in his following rounds because his focus, as always, from him plus the win. I think he's going to pin his own head a little bit. It's definitely been both results in taking those aggressive passes, but he really should. Meanwhile, Scheffler and Holman have just stayed steady. That's what the game then wants to do. So I think we want to see and what we were reacting to, we saw that Morikawa had a much time being yes, missing by 7 round. So Scheffler is still 7 under Morikawa and what's high. He's second, 6 under rated. Either way, we got ourselves a race here, and I think the biggest thing the other thing that I took from here so this week was that you're with me. You first timers at Augusta don't want to win. They do well sometimes. They don't even necessarily make it cocky. We see a lot of past champs. We saw Daniel hanging around for a while in the first 2 weeks. It's the only tournament we ever really talked about his name in. What I noticed about this leaderboard is we have Lebanon Bears. We have suspense on runs. And these guys really, you wouldn't expect to be anywhere near the top of the leaderboard this week. And I kind of find that exciting this week. I do subscribe to you. Got to feel this coffee for have success here. But hell, I'd be fine with someone winning for the first time for the first time since the 60s or 70s. Is that what it was? But
79, 79 Fuzzy Zoeller. Yeah, Fuzzy in 79.
So I'm fine with that. That surprised me. I'm here for it, though. Because I think that was the state of the game of golf earlier. I think that's what we need in the golf world right now. We need more parity. We need some excitement, some names to get people excited.
I think Homa would be a great guy to win, who's unfortunately having like the worst putting week of his life, or otherwise he would be this thing in a rout right now. And like it's the fact that they involve on social media. They're not afraid to mix it up with other people. Like for some reason, like golfers think that you can't have a personality and be great. That's just not true. Like that may have been true back when you weren't, constantly on the internet and, it's just the news and everything changes and the cycles move so fast. But now if golf wants to continue to grow as a sport, they need people that are out there. And I hate to say this, but like internet famous. And that's one reason I really respect what Bryson's doing. Like he is going out, creating content. He's actually interacting with people, they're basically like us, right? And not treating them like they're beneath them. Like he treats them as equals because he knows that everybody loves the game of golf. And that's what drives me crazy. Look at the golf course. I know that my golf courses are packed since COVID. COVID was a great time for everybody to learn. Oh, it's fun to go outside and do stuff, right? And now I think golf is as popular as it's been in forever. But a lot of people play golf, but they don't watch it. And that is an issue. And that's, again, why I'm so scared of the Live PGA thing, because it's just diluting it more and more to where it's going to be a niche sport even more than what it is today.
I've got this developing theory since the Live PGA. One thing we've learned about this, and it goes back to my theory that we own the game. Like golf is our sport. It's not the professional sport. It's just that was probably the best product for entertainment value for a long time. But as you just pointed out, times have changed. And, a guy like Max Homa, he got started on social media. It was roast my swing, roast my swing, roast my swing. And then you were like, he was in the midst of losing his card 2 or 3 times or whatever it was and having to battle back to get to this level. So it is going to be guys like that who are accessible. Bryson, the beauty of golf is because it is one of the more accessible sports, that and growing in popularity, like you said, thanks to
and you can't hit a 450-foot home run. You can make a 50-foot putt on a green, right? Like that's sort of kind of the stuff that I always tell people about golf that's different.
And so the biggest takeaway from this Live PGA thing was that we don't give a shit how much money you make anymore. There's a long time in sports because pre-social media, that was a selling point. They're playing for $5 million. They're playing for $10 million. They're playing for that was, and I'm not saying that anybody on this podcast or in this room has 10 milli just sitting around, right? That's not what
I wish I did.
Right. Maybe we wouldn't be talking. No, I'm joking. The point is that doesn't make my socks roll up and down because I can see that in other ways. I know how that's calculated. And I also am a realist and enough to be like, I don't give a shit that you make that much money. I think it's cool what you're doing. So there are just other ways. And Rory said it, we got to figure it out. 20% down in ratings across the board. I said it a couple weeks ago, they might never come back. They might just be addicted to the game and not the product. And so I agree. The Live PGA thing does need to figure itself out, and I think it is because at the higher level, when you hear the meeting down in the Bahamas, Tigers Place with all the key players, after something like that, and then honestly, the Live team laying a friggin' egg outside of Bryson after all that chirp, and they put something out on social media with the 17 or 12 of them being like arm in arm going, we're coming for that jacket, which to me too, I thought in the moment, okay, read the room. We're supposed to be doing this. We put it all aside for 1 week. But then it comes out that Greg Norman couldn't get a ticket. And I don't think that's surprising at all. People who think that, that's petty. It's not petty. Augusta National is built on a partnership with this PGA Tour that goes generations deep. You represent a pain in our ass, and thank God you never won, and B, the chief architect component, whatever face of something that does inject a level of disruption and an element of golf that we as Augusta National don't recognize. We play 72 hole tournaments around here. We wear slacks, X, Y, and Z, whatever. And I also think little gimmicks like that aren't going to grow the game. Let them wear shorts. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
right, whatever. Like they do on the DP World Tour.
Shotgun starts are bullshit, though. 54-hole events are bullshit.
Right.
Like
this is you can't. you can't, even in the game of cricket, which has
Right.
cricket, the cricket 20 has taken off in popularity and it's helped segments of it, but they don't play World Cups. You still don't determine who's the best of the best of the best based on that. They do have like world championships for the cricket 20, but it's the same thing here. If Liv wanted to put something out there to call it the Liv Invitational World Title, great, but there's a bigger community because the game machine doesn't recognize that.
Yep.
Ron's already even said that in his little regression on going to Liv. He came up with it in weeks ago, saying that he would be better off playing 72 more times. So I mean, like this format changes, that it really changes. I think. So, but something that just happened up here, I don't know if you caught it yet, Keith. Homo bogeyed and O'Hare actually buried. So we had a little flip there. O'Hare's now 6 under. I'm almost back in time up there. And we're back. I think it's going to be awesome all day. I think the way the course is playing this weekend, or specifically say, you mentioned to me earlier today, you texted me, said that you heard the crew would water the greens, or water the golf course basically to kind of get some scoring going. Actually, I'm in the minority. I don't know how you feel. I was really enjoying the fact that it was tough out there. I was enjoying the fact that Scotty Scheffler going to say could double bogey and then turn around and hero just to get back to the lead. Like, I'm fine with that. Make this tough. I think that's why everyone always enjoyed the U.S. Opens. If they wanted it to be tougher than normal, they want that. And I was enjoying the crazy. Now, granted, I want to see some scoring too, but I think recently you've had some tournaments, but these guys are going super well. We're seeing 17, 20 under. I mean, that's a little too much for me. I want some more of a challenge. I've been enjoying it, but how do you feel? Have you been enjoying the difficulty?
I mean, to me, this event is literally made, and it's what makes it great, that you can go low, but you have to play so well because every little mistake is compounded because of the speed of the greens and everything. And it has been kind of disappointing that, I mean, kind of no matter how good you play the first 3 days, you're going to take your lumps. And I mean, Scheffler, again, has just thought his way around the course, which he is the best thinker on the tour by far. Like, he has an ability to get the most out of his rounds and is also the best ball striker in the world. And we've seen that this week where he's like 25th, I think, in green and regulation percentage. Like, if he wins this Masters without kind of dominating in what he does best, which is ball striking, the tour is in trouble in the sense of like trying to win big events, because this dude is here and he plans on winning a lot because he's kind of figured out the putting. He doesn't have to be a great putter. He just can't lose strokes. He finished 10th here last year, losing 4 strokes to the field on the greens, which is just insane when you think about it, when that's such a big part of Augusta.
I don't think it's a big deal that they're going to water the greens down. I think, he texted me this morning and I said, no, I think that's on par, pun intended, because if you look at it, the last, going back 60 years, I don't think anybody outside of the top 10 going into the final day. We might see that here. I think you go out to 12 or 13, T12, T13, somewhere in there. I looked at those names and I say, you could see these guys going after it, but nobody outside of the top 10 is going to win, in the last 60 years. But at the same time, they don't want a bloodbath. They don't want a winged foot, 7 over winning. And I'm not saying that's what you're arguing for. But what I'm going a little brand. I'm going.
We want the roars, right? We want the roars. That's what Augusta is.
What was that fun?
I went a little Brandel Chambly.
He'll block you if you just
nobody's saying they wanted to call a winner. I don't want that either.
No. But I think at the end of the day, when you say to the Augusta National Competition Committee, hey, if we can guarantee you a result, whether it's 20 under or 10 under as the winner, if we can guarantee you a result where there's only about a dozen guys under par, you want it? Yeah, done. And so I think that's what they're looking at, which is, yeah, they probably could. I mean, they can do anything they want to this golf course. A buddy of mine's an Augusta resident for a number of years. He's a member over at Augusta Country Club. He knows a bunch of the local guys at Augusta National who are connected, et cetera. And then he was even just public knowledge a couple of years ago when they tore up the par 3 course, all but 2 holes. In 5 months, they tore it up, they rebuilt it, and they added they can do.
They're building a tunnel right now for parking for the pros underneath the facility, where they will drive underneath and get it come straight up.
They're they're digging underground. These people they're not real. Like, this is not a real place, and we won't even get into the sand. Is not sand. It's like crushed granite or quartz.
Yep.
Jesus. So they want a certain product and they're delivering it. And I do think it was, them at the end of the day going, that was brutal. I mean, I think us as fans, we're eating.
We know it dries out the greens, which is the other issue, is when you get 35-mile-an-hour winds for 2 days, those greens are so dry and crusty that you almost have to wet them or they're going to become so firm. It's like literally hitting concrete when they land on there. And they're just trying to, I think, make it to where you can kind of hold them and get your ball to do what it would normally do on an approach shot to Augusta instead of what we've seen.
I can't even imagine the brains that sit in the room, the agronomists and the meteorologists and whoever they have on staff for this 1 week to figure out how do we get it just right, because they tune that thing like a fine instrument, and then they just let it go on Sunday.
Yep.
Now, Keith, I do want to ask you before you time into this here, because you told me earlier in the week that you are a self-proclaimed degenerate gambler.
Yep.
And I want to know what is still live for you right now. Do you have any of your bets that you're still sweating right now? Is there anything still live?
Yeah, on Wednesday night, I ended up making a pretty sizable bet on Scheffler because I just kept talking myself over and over into it that at like plus 450. I felt like at this golf course, it's not a bad odds. Like, I know it seems insane.
Take that forever on Scotty Scheffler from now on.
What was insane is in like 2006 or 7 when Tiger was minus money. That's insane.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, like seriously, at most other venues, I don't know if I would do that. But here where the biggest keys is middle to long irons, par 5 scoring, and being able to scramble off tight lies, which Scheffler is arguably the best in the game at all 3 of those things. And if he just putts decent, if he just putts decent, he's going to have a great week. I have Reed again to top 10 at plus 500, which I don't know where exactly he's at now. He's still kind of right around there. But the guy I'm most disappointed this week is Koepka. I built him up all week at 20-1, the baddest MFer in majors, and he just didn't show up, like flat out. He didn't look like he was grinding. He didn't look like the Koepka that we know. And I mean, Tiger on one leg was grinding more on Thursday, Friday, I felt like, than Koepka was, and that's a shame.
We got your boy Reed at hold on. We got your boy Reed T13 through 12 right now.
So he's still kind of got a shot.
Right. And I'm glad you brought up Tiger too, because honestly, people are going to be disappointed where they just see that he mentioned plus 16 today, and then he was way back on. Obviously, it's disappointing with something. Let's be honest, his body fails to make straight. It's predictable. So just it's what it is. What I saw on Tiger this weekend is that he can still make the shots. Yes, can he not maybe walk around for 3 every rounds around the point, really going for a tour and smash? Sure, that's understandable to me. But he still has the soft hands. He still has full control of that club. And my biggest hope for Tiger this year was the fact that he was driving the ball so accurate. Just something he was always kind of struggled with at Augusta. He's made it work in other ways. But I saw a lot of hope on a Tiger this week. I know he had us very, very bad around his. Right? But I think people need to relax with Tiger though. They realize that he's still accomplished this weekend, given the circumstances. It's still pretty freaking impressive.
It's his will to me. Like it's why he is who he is. It's just nobody, when they set their mind that they can do something and actually believe it the way Tiger does. Because if you really think about it, he basically lost a leg. And then he's still making cuts at Augusta, which is the hardest place to walk in the world. I can't, like, I've been there. I'm exhausted just after walking as a fan. I'm not hitting any shots or anything. And I'm tired for 2 days after I go watch around at Augusta. So I couldn't imagine actually walking it basically on one leg with a fused back, neck, and giving up sex for a week, which I did notice he had a little more pep in his step today as he knew that 72nd hole was about to end. And, you know, if that was true, he was done with it.
Listen, if that was the key to success on the golf course, Andrew would have the Grand Slam by now. You saw that comment. Hold on, real quick. Morikawa's about to hit this putt for share of the lead, and see, that's my horse.
Oh, you didn't have. See, I'm mad at myself because he is a guy that we've even said on our show, me and Al have been doing forever. Once he gets to 28, 30 to 1 or higher in majors, look at his track record. You should always take him because he's unlike a lot of these guys we bet on. Cam Young, looking at you, he actually has won something.
But I like it. You got Scotty at 7, Colin at 6, Ludwig at 6, you know, going into the back 9. I mean, Homa's up there still. DeChambeau's not out of
I'm
there.
with you. Fleetwood DeChambeau shoot like 31 on the back, put some pressure on. You never know.
You never know, exactly. But they just showed one guy here on the screen that I think it's been a massive disappointment. I think he was one of the chalkiest players of the week in every type of fantasy letting format. Hideki Matsuyama, to be, yes, he made the cut, but he is set over right now. I know the crowd he came into the tournament with. Just huge disappointment for how we team beat Ace. It's crazy because he's still 7 over a league and made the cut. But disappointed if you're going to lose that amount.
I'm disappointed in myself for giving him in DFS and actually betting him, because I said on our show, Hideki's the guy that when you don't expect him to win, or when he's like getting really high odds, that's when to bet Hideki. And it did worry me that everybody was on him and I still backed him. And he proved once again, when everybody's behind him, don't take Hideki. When everybody's doubting him and his odds creep up, that's when you take Hideki.
You bet Hideki when he's down or when he's in Hawaii. That's it.
Exactly,
and I agree.
yes.
Brooks owes me an explanation. White courtesy phone for Sergio Garcia, and we now have a three-way. We now have a three-way tie at the top. Who?
Wrong, because it's like you're going to go, you're going to leave the PGA, and you're going to say that you're still going to be one of the best players in the world. You got to prove it, kind of like what Koepka did last year. Like Koepka has at least proved that he's finished second in a major. He's won a major. Like that's the problem I have with the live guys more than anything is like. I would think to get to that level, you got to be an unreal competitor, right? Like you care, you want to win, like you want to be the best. And by going there, you're doing a disadvantage. Obviously, financially, you're not, but to your career and trying to be one of the best players in the world, you're doing a disadvantage because you're just not going to have the prep and be ready for these events. It's totally different trying to win an event, 72 holes with all the best players in the world compared to playing 54-hole events in shorts with music blaring and nobody in the crowd.
I know. It's so true. Real fast, yes, Facebook user, I don't know who you are, because if it's Facebook user on here, yes, maybe you're drinking an azalea, and on with the Masters, obviously. It is delicious. It's how it is. Keith, real fast, in our time, just wrapping up here with you. I want to give you a moment. Tell people, because I think, at least on our show, this is everyone's kind of first introduction to you. I'm following you on social media, but tell everyone, where can they find you? Where are you at? I mentioned you're on ESPN, Northwest Florida, but so take a moment here and tell everyone where they can find all your stuff.
Well, I appreciate it. First of all, I think you guys are great. Appreciate you letting me come on and chop it up. But my Twitter handle is @Keith Fleming. That's KEITHFLEMMING. You can find literally all my work there. But I write an article every week for Fantasy Six Pack. We do a show called Two Off the Tee on there every Wednesday, go on ESPN Northwest Florida. The show called Inside Drive Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Central Time. 12 p.m. Central Time. I do basically 40 minutes where we dive into golf tournaments this time of year. Once football rolls around, we dive right into DFS football, which is the other thing I do. And I do DFS football content for both Fantasy Six Pack and Fantasy and Frames.
Keith, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you representing the Redneck Riviera.
That's right.
Coming to us live from
taking over the world, baby.
From North Florida.
Guys, thanks so much, man. Take care.
Thank you very much, Keith. We'll be right back after this quick break.
This is the Scoreboard Addicts Podcast. Starring Nick, TJ, and The Rook. Our shows are for the average sports fan who likes drinking, talking sports, and talking shit. We cover all sports from the MLB to the NHL and everything in between, as well as review movies and discuss pop culture.
Dude, he wouldn't be in the NFL if he couldn't play at this level. All right? You get this. Good day. I can't believe you just said that. It was the stupidest thing I've heard you say in weeks. All right?
Say he can never play at this level?
That was I never heard.
You're ruining the magic.
That's a really interesting point.
We all know shady underground places that give massages and happy endings. And does it not seem out of the realm of possibility?
It's an embarrassment. I think fans are tired. Because it's a clown show organization. Guess what, Joe? It is
still a man's sport. This is still hockey. Step the fuck up. He's looking. I don't know why, but he looked at me. I'm looking at you. He's looking at me. He goes. He's trying to eat it real low key. Join us Thursdays at 8 o'clock for your regular New York sports talk show.
Oh yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to our live engaging at the scene of the final round of the Masters. This is a national engagement. So if you don't, here in the area, you spent a nice time earlier. These places now, both which receive a massive expanse, massive amount of spots on both courses earlier, and a good amount of capability to record it through last year's. So thank you for joining us here, and Well, Brian, thank you for joining us as well. I know you definitely have some, just knowing from how you guys are successful in bowling golf. I know you must have some wine best in right now on there. So, it's hard for it's going. How are you doing today? Enjoy the night.
How we doing, Bo? Yeah. Yeah, no, Andrew's mic has been giving me headaches for the last 44 minutes, going on 45 minutes now.
Is it some kind of noisy casino of some type?
Yeah, a little bit. There was some the scout team didn't pick up. We got to fire these interns, I'm telling you. But while we do have you, good to see you. Thank you, Mr. Mick Big Time. Apologies, don't want to drop that on there. 2 questions for you. A follow-up on his bets. We'd love to hear where you stand in your approach this week. What went into it? Where did you put your focus? And then 2, and you can answer these in any order you want. King of Spice? I mean, I'm the chief of morale, and I mean, we don't have to get into my title, but King of Spice. I need to know where's the kingdom? Is the crown heavy? How's morale in the kingdom of Spice? But we can either way, betting or the King of Spice. I just love good. I'm a sucker for marketing. So what? Being the King of Spice. Talk to me, Goose.
So the big time nickname came about from an old friend, and then I started selling hot sauce online. And when you become known for your hot sauce,
Yes.
That's what happens. Is you get called the King of Spice because of my famous hot sauce online. The Kingdom of Spice is very it's happy. It's happy. The crown is light. I wear it with a little tip to the side, just nice little off kilter. That's the way it should be. Golf betting right now, pretty rough on my card. I have a live Cam Smith top 10 bet that's looking pretty solid, but it's I put a lot more on Brooks Koepka and Hideki than I care to mention. So,
You and me both.
I also had some DJ action, and he had a really rough Friday.
So the DJ play, what drew you to DJ? Because I have or actually 2 questions. The King of Spice, that's fucking great. I just love that. No, but the DJ play, I'm a big proponent of coming into the Masters, keeping it simple with the data because so much is strokes gained off the course, like knowledge and have you won here before. And I did give DJ a drive-by mostly because of him and how much gravitas he has. So when he says things like, I wasn't really taking it seriously last year, I need to turn it on. It's like, all right. I mean, maybe he does, and maybe it's like riding a bike for those guys. But so the DJ play, interesting. So where did you though, when because I balance it between past champions and then really just ball striking and putting, and then I'll find something else in there. But what did you look at this week, kind of coming into it to prepare for your picks?
Yeah, a lot of it was putting weight on people who have seen this course many times, who have done well on this golf course. And then for my first timers, they're guys who haven't been here very many times. It was a lot of second, third, and fourth shots. So your approach, you're around the green, and then 3-putt avoidance, of course. We're seeing all sorts of trouble on these greens. I can't even imagine trying to make a putt on these greens this week. It's we just saw Willie Z miss a 3-footer. We saw Rory 3-putt. He had an eagle putt and 3-putted from 8 feet. So this course is brutally difficult this week, and it's just the results have been so widespread. The guys that are making lots of pars, like Colin and Max Homa, those guys are doing great so far. And then you got robots like Scotty and Ludwig Oberg, and it's just like you just need the robot guy out there just hitting automatic shots, and that's what it takes this week. It's just
avoiding the blow-ups is actually is like you said, because this course, I loved seeing guys like even Tiger Woods go, it's hard. Like, this is hard golf. This is hard golf. And which is also why the game writ large, this is such a big stage, big moment. And yes, why everybody wants to see these guys all together more often than just 4 times a year. But that's a whole different show and a whole different segment. But putting it together around the green is the one, because like you said, especially these greens, if you've never been, which I haven't, our previous guest, Keith Fleming, Northwest Florida ESPN guy, he's been around a couple times, but I've got a bunch of buddies who've went. I've had to pass on tickets twice, once to go see a girl, regret that. And the other one was because for the birth of my child, and then COVID actually postponed that Masters anyway. So
one excuse and one travesty of
yeah.
decision.
It
wasn't the girl that you had the kid with, was it?
No, absolutely not. Otherwise, that story would have been a whole lot more chipper and upbeat. But I was telling at my brother's country club one time, and somebody looked around at me and he goes, "Get out of my grill right now." He's like, "I just heard that story." He's like, "I can't respect that." But the greens here and the elevation change overall. Keith was talking about just walking it and how the physical toll it takes just to walk that course. Forget, hitting golf shots and, doing all that kind of stuff. Just to walk it is an absolute beast and a bear. And then the greens, the tilt, the undulation, the elevation change. And then when the conditions get the way that they are this week, it's fun to watch these guys get humbled a little bit. But then sometimes it's almost like seeing the school bully and you're like, all right, that's enough. All right, he's had enough. Like, back off a little bit. Not to say any of these guys are bullies other than Scotty Scheffler, who's the nicest bully on earth. Like you said, him and Aubert just automatic. Ludwig Aubert, somebody pointed it out. He's a guy who a year ago was playing college golf at Texas Tech. And this is his first major at all. And since leaving the PGA Tour and getting into the PGA Tour, he's won a couple times. He was on that Ryder Cup team that waxed our ass in Italy. And so, I'm with Andrew. Maybe this is the guy, the moment, the time that we get another first-time winner at Augusta.
He's playing like he's got the swag of a veteran. And Connor Coughlin and I on the 19th Hole show we do every Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern. We've been talking about Ludwig since junior year at Texas Tech. Like he's been a big thing in the golf circles among all of us. We know what he is, and this guy is a robot with swag, and he's out here playing this golf course like it's just another Muni. And it's ridiculous because even when he hits a bad shot, he's smiling, making jokes, and you're like, okay, I get it. Like Ludwig just has the hit factor where he's so talented and so confident in his game that nothing's gonna faze him, and that's what we're looking for at the Masters. I mean, he doesn't have the same pedigree that Tiger Woods did at this stage, but he's got a little bit of that Tiger in him at that age. So, I'm a huge Oberg fan because this guy has every bit of what it takes to win the Masters, even in the first try.
Real quick, we're going to get Andrew in here, but Ludwig almost caused a fight in my house. It was yesterday, actually. My aforementioned lovely roommate / wife, who's at home right now with our daughter. Love you, babe. She looked up from her screen, her scrolling a couple weeks ago, and Ludwig was on the television. And she just goes, "Ooh, who's that?" And I said, "Oh, that's Ludwig Aubert." Blah 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 blah. And she goes, "Oh, he's cute." And then she just goes back to her business. So yesterday, I'm reminding her, "Hey, honey, I'm going to the Gate City Casino. Shout out Gate City for letting us come here and do our thing.
Oh yeah,
talking golf." I was like, "I'm going to Gate City tomorrow." Blah blah blah. And then I was like, "Oh, by the way, your boy is on the screen." And she looked up and she sees him and she goes, "I don't know who that is. I've never seen him before in my life. I don't watch golf. Golf is stupid." Blah, blah. And I was like, what? I was trying to do that thing where it's kind of like, when Denzel's on the screen and you want me to remind you that, like, hey, honey, look, it's a Hemsworth brother, like that kind of thing. It's Ludwig. Nah, she couldn't see. She didn't find the joke very funny.
So, question: can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, better. Good, because I can hear you. I can hear you too, bro. So that's freaking fantastic. Update though: Home was back at 6 under now, so we now have a 4-way tie for the lead between Scheffler, Morikawa, Home, and Aubert, and I love that. Bro, and I might have missed this earlier because I heard you talk about King of Spice, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself. But something I love about you, Bo, in the besides your football content, your golf content, all the fantasy and sports content you do is you love posting pictures of the meals you're cooking. And did I miss this earlier? Did you guys already talk about this? You did, okay. Because I saw today. What was it that you were cooking today? Was there some sort of inspiration from the Masters that you were cooking today? Because it seems like every weekend you're cooking some new fancy meal that I would just love to be in the kitchen cooking myself, but I live vicariously through you. So tell us, what have you been cooking up lately?
So today I didn't cook anything, but last night we went.
Oh, it must have been last night then. Okay.
Yeah, full Italian. We went to this. It's a authentic Italian deli in Davis here in NorCal, and they make great sandwiches. Like we're talking the best cold cut sandwiches, meatball subs, whatever you want, Italian style. It's also an import market for like different imported Italian goods that I can get to cook something authentic. And I was able to find a bunch of guanciale there, which is how you make carbonara. And so that's what I made last night with some bucatini carbonara.
I love it. What's been your favorite thing to cook? Is Italian like your favorite style to cook?
Oh no, Italian's just fun and delicious. And it's actually pretty easy. Like most people with any idea around the kitchen can cook Italian pretty well because it's basic ingredients. It's more technique than anything. And then my favorite is Mexican food, and I also grew up cooking Southern comfort food because my grandpa's from Arkansas, so he was a cook, and my dad is a cook, and everybody in my family is a cook. So guess what I do? I cook.
Sorry about that. I love it. I'm just glad my audio issues are finally freaking figured out because I was about to lose my shit. Bryson just birdied 2 in a row, by the way. He's back to 3 under. So that's
go Crushers! Sorry, that's his team. What do you mean? You're looking at him high.
I know. I forgot because I don't give a shit about the live teams. It's fine.
You should give.
I know. I know. Our next guest, Brian, watches a little more live than us, so maybe we'll ask him about that. But Bo, what I want to ask you, I don't know how much you've been paying attention to the non-golf storylines this week at the Masters, but we mentioned Greg Norman earlier, and with Keith, and Greg Norman having to buy a ticket to the Masters. Personally, I know where I stand. There was a bit of a hoopla being made on social medias, but are you offended that the Masters made him buy a ticket? Because if you ask me, you made your bed, man.
So here's the thing: is in order for the Masters to do that to somebody, you have to be a pretty shitty person to begin with.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, the fact that Freddie Couples is dogging him, and Freddie Couples, obviously one of everybody's favorites.
Yeah.
It's so easy to find the punching bag, especially when the punching bag takes hundreds of millions of dollars to do a shitty job on an alternate tour. And even that tour has distanced themselves from him and as a CEO. This guy he's just an insufferable turd of a human, and so it's funny. It's funny to watch him flail his way through life, despite having a lot of things go his way a lot of the time.
It's so true. You nailed it there. And what I love, did you see his post? I think it was last night after the third round. Yeah, I'm sure you did. Where he was? Did you see it, bud?
His hand was sore from shaking so many people's hands. And how many people?
No, but he didn't even really specify. He just said my hand was sore. To leave it at that.
His back was sore from bending over and sucking himself off.
Yeah, he did the Marilyn Manson.
Yes.
And he did it well. That my take. I never, and I said this earlier in last week's show. I never pass up a chance to take a shot at the shark. And I think it's because it's a little bit of you made your bed, you're sleeping it. I also don't fault him for doing what he's doing, right? He's trying to be like, hey, look, people like me. I think Augusta National would say, people like fill in the blank. We're Augusta National, and honestly, when his son posted trying to get a little bit of sympathy saying, we went through the general channels and the professional channels and we were denied entry. No shit. So was I. Take a number, buddy. And also, I don't represent a competitor for them. You represent a competitor. You're part of a whole ecosystem of golf, and it's not a moral play, it's a business play. You haven't shown that you can turn a profit. You don't produce a similar product we do. It's just a different thing. It's just like when I caught hell the other day for saying Happy Gilmore's not a golf movie, and everybody jumped down my throat. And I said, no, listen, featuring golf, featuring it doesn't make, he could have been a cornhole pro. He could have been a rodeo guy who every year doesn't, he's a rodeo clown, and every year he gets bucked from the tryouts, so he's got to go. And instead, somebody walks up and says, "You're going to give that shit up, and you're going to focus on dressage, and we're going to turn you to an equestrian dancer," all that kind of shit. It could have been just as much shtick and just as much fun. So, Live Golf putting on a bunch of tournaments with people who have a certain amount of pedigree, and I went down a rabbit hole the other day on this too, and I went off a little bit. Those guys who are at Live from the PGA Tour You were built through a certain ecosystem. That's the second ecosystem. I'll stop that. You were built under a certain system and given certain opportunities. And I think what they forgot was they thought because they were in the spotlight that they were the shine. And it's not like that. You were just, it's kind of like Broadway. There's plays that are going to come and go. And just because you were the first Jean Valjean doesn't mean in 50 years that somebody else can't play that role. Golf is bigger than that. And so it's weeks like these that really highlight just how small that whole thing is. And so with Greg Norman, sure. And good on you, man. Good on you. You went and bought the ticket. You showed up. You shook the hands. Good for you.
I mean, I can't believe he's even mentioning how he got the ticket because it doesn't matter. We know that he's good for what, $2,200 that it would have cost him to get into the place through third-party ticket vendors. I mean, that's what all the prices I saw was for a day pass at Augusta. If you didn't win the lottery, is $2,200. I'm pretty sure he felt okay about writing that check.
Yeah, and if not, there's 0% APR on some MasterCard out there that you can put it on and pay it off in a couple months. Not advertising that, just like with betting. Only
I put this on my card.
He makes it too easy. I'm kind of glad. I said at the beginning of the week I was big on Brooksy as well. I think I thought him. If anybody from Liv was going to win or make a run, I thought it was going to be Brooks or maybe even a sleepy John Rahm. But the emotion, the toll, everything's too much for those other guys. Rory, I think, has built it up himself. That mountain, every year he seems to be, trying to chisel away at the mountain, and instead he's just piling more rocks on top of it. Is he Dan Marino? Maybe this is his. People forget that Arnold Palmer didn't win the career Grand Slam. The career Grand Slam, there's only a handful of guys out there who've done it. So there's a lot of different storylines that could be coming to fruition. But we're going to be entering the back nine of Sunday at the Masters. That famously, I think it was Ken Venturi used to say, the Masters doesn't start until Sunday on the back nine. And I'm not kicking you off. I'm just saying, as we hit this point, this top of the hour, bottom of the hour, wherever the hell we are. We're blessed to have Bo McBriar here with us. Bo _ Mick Big Time, aka the King of Spice. Andrew, welcome back.
Yeah, sorry. Nature calls sometimes when you're on air for this long, and when you're drinking azaleas, it happens. But meanwhile, while I was gone, Colin Morikawa and Scotty Scheffler both birdies, so that's a two-way tie at 7 under for the lead. Now Homo and Bear just behind him. Look, this is what I wanted. I wanted an exciting finish. It was going to really annoy me if we had a runaway. Unfortunately, there's been quite a few tournaments this year that have been a bit of a runaway so far. So the Masters has always felt like this is where the season starts. I know the players obviously happen that's where we watch. I know. Your love for the players. That's where guys like us really settle in, even though we've really settled in January. But for your common golf fan, the Masters is kind of the beginning. So to have a nice close finish here like this down the stretch, this is what the tour needed. And we talked about it earlier with Keith Bo, and Keith was very open about the tour having a problem right now, especially if Bryson comes out here and wins on 3D printed irons approved 3 days before the tournament starts. Like, the tour needed what is happening right now. It needed tough conditions. It needed guys overcoming that. It needed comebacks and underdogs. I can't, in a season where we've talked a lot about the storylines of what the tour needs, I feel like this weekend is so far shaping up quite perfectly now that Bryson is 4 strokes off the lead. Do you feel the same? Are you worried about the state of golf right now because of the way the tournaments have gone this year?
No, I think it's a perfect showcase after last year, where Phil and Brooksy were runner-up to John Rahm, who eventually went over to there. This was a big barometer for the PGA Tour, even though it's not affiliated with the Masters. Is I see 1, 2, 3, 4 guys at the top of this leaderboard. All are the class of the PGA Tour. They're all the top guys of the PGA Tour. And the live guys have mostly fallen flat here, other than Bryson making a shit ton of birdies because he's so much fun. And the 3D printed iron thing's cool because, like, back in the day, all the professional golfers were tinkerers like that. All of them.
Right.
Every single one of them had lead tape on their irons, and their putter was bent certain ways. Their edge was 70 degrees, and they just didn't care. That was what they wanted to see and feel. They did all of it themselves. Now you got all these tour vans and backup clubs and TrackMan things, and like, let Bryson do what he wants to do. He's one of the best in the world still, and it's good for the sport to come full circle, which I think it will in the next couple of years, is it's all going to come together again. And it was because of the Live Tour exposing what the PGA Tour did not have that it's going to eventually come full circle as a whole being again. And everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, remember that crazy time when the PGA Tour was getting their ass kicked and it helped everybody.
So I agree that it helps everybody. What I get, I guess, I start to draw the line of the exaggerations is as Greg Norman was saying, no matter how false it was, saying thank you for what you've done for the game of golf, and Liv has changed the game. Like, let's slow down a little bit. Liv has changed the golf in some ways, and that's okay to admit. But to say that Liv has fully changed golf is a stretch. I think there's been a lot of also natural changes we would have saw anyways when it comes to professional golf. I think that's all part of it. Ludwig Gobert also just birdied. Now he's just tied for the lead, three-way tie at 700 now. So we're going to keep on you with this right here. But yeah, and I had a point I was just going to say, and now I completely just freaking forgot it because I got distracted by the scoreboard. That's what happens with the Masters. I have these thoughts, and then I look at the scoreboard. I'm like, fuck, like that's exciting to me. Pick it up, though, because I'm now lost. You do, so you're watching it too.
Yeah, so Oberg made the birdie on number 9, which is not an easy hole to birdie.
No.
That's huge for him.
Yeah, and that's the exact hole that Scheffler and Morikawa are on right now, so I guess we'll see what happens there. And actually, this is not okay, so Holman cleans up the power there. I would say that wasn't a very straightforward putt for him. No, that's what it was. So when it comes to Bryson's irons to clean that point up, and you guys, between the two of you might actually know better than me. I guess the big point of his 3D printed irons is that he focused on adding roll and bulge to the iron face, which is historically what drivers are. Drivers have that bulge and that roll on it, and that's what gives you a little bit more forgiveness. Is he the first to do this? Have companies tried this before? I don't know the history of this. This is me just being ignorant, I guess. But it seems like if it works for drivers to give you control, why isn't it just like a common place for irons in every club? Or has someone tried it before and it just never took off?
So player improvement irons, like Callaway still makes player improvement irons that have roll and bulge.
Okay.
Right now, since the beginning of time, since the early 90s when this sort of technology started revolutionizing, player improvement irons have that roll and bulge on the whole iron set, and it's for the forgiveness factor. It's to take away side spin, and so Bryson's swing speeds are so extreme that if he hits it off the toe or the heel, he's getting a lot more side spin than the average person with the blade iron. And so he decided, hey, I want that roll and bulge on the face, but I still want the muscle back on the back of the iron so the weight feels right. And if I hit it in the sweet spot, it's still workable. And so it's actually pretty ingenious, the fact that he's done this himself with obviously some help of some engineers, but it's pretty awesome, and it's going to be the future of golf, is where you get more of that catered fit for the golfer himself.
Well, yeah, I think the fact that the USGA approved this, even like it's a massive opening to setting a new standard. It's as you say in like law and court settings, it's a new precedent that no one really thought to try before. The fact that he tried it and they approved it, I think we're going to see some guys getting really custom. Dare I say, are we going to get even more like say custom edition clubs from some of these manufacturers? I think like maybe say I don't know if he specifically plays Cali. I forget what Bryson plays, but say Homer plays
whatever
Callaway.
Company this 3D printer is.
No, but what I'm saying is like for
Cobra.
all these guys that are like Callaway or TaylorMade or whatever, like maybe they start coming out with special edition, Homa style clubs where the angles and the roll and all that, the bulge is all slightly different, and maybe we get this more custom kind of feel to golf. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but I feel like the window's been open for this now, to where it's another selling point that companies can bank on.
Would you please for the go ahead.
You have a couple companies right there in the middle of that kind of thing with Ping and PXG that are doing like a bridge between your stock clubs and what Bryson's doing, is where they have a lot more customization available. But it's going to start leaning more that way. And I think that if you get companies like Ping and PXG that offer that sort of more drilled down look at a fitting, especially with irons, which are, I mean, that's 7 or 8 of your clubs in the bag. That's a big deal, especially for a guy who's trying to win the damn Masters.
Corey Pavin back in the early 90s when he won at Shinnecock with some Cleveland irons that were player improvement irons. That was like the first time that really a PGA Tour pro had put something like that into play, because forever we've had Forge, we've had Cast, and now I do think we are looking at the next evolution, whatever you want to call it, because technology's getting so much better in these guys and their data that, yeah, it is going to get that customizable where they're going to just kind of imagine what they want, and then somebody's going to 3D print it, go test it, 3D print it, go test it. The gap is going to grow between Bo, you, me, and the clubs that we use, the clubs that they use. And it already exists. If you think that the same Callaway X4 that whatever the hell is in your bag is the same thing that they're swinging, you're insane. If you haven't seen, TaylorMade's got a great social media follow, and their truck that goes around, their equipment truck, is a really cool kind of look at what it takes to stay as in tune as these guys are. But the Bryson thing and where he fits in the whole thing, tinkering has always been a tradition. I said it on the show last week, a couple weeks ago. He used to live across the street from a guy, Ernie Vatterson, who started Snake Eyes Golf back in the 90s, which primarily was a wedge company. And then it tried to kind of expand. It got a little too big, and then it kind of, ate itself. Well, in the early 80s, when we were living in Jacksonville, all the players would come to his garage to get their wedges and stuff worked on, because the grass at TPC Sawgrass that time of year was so much different than what they were used to out west or in Hawaii or where they had been playing. And so, to Bo's point, tinkering and advancing, we're not using sticks and stones and horse feathers shoved into shrunken pouches of goat sacks or whatever. We're rolling back the golf ball, but even that is going to be a technological step forward, because all these players are going to look at the R&D teams and go, all right, do whatever you got to do to fit what I want into the specs that they have, and I don't want to sacrifice more than 5 or 6 yards. That's what's going to happen. Bryson the other day when he was saying this ball is 20 yards off, Bryson, you're the first beta tester, man. Thank you for doing it. But I mean, the game's going to evolve. And yes, sorry, to answer your first question, 3D printing I do think is the absolute just kind of next natural evolution, just like why they put the kibosh on laser guided green books, because the AI stuff that's coming down and everything. All right, back it off. It's you and your caddy, or you and your familiarity. You can do the simple yardage books.
Oh, that's bad. Morikawa had a bunker shot, third shot on a par 4, and he is still in the bunker.
He's on 9.
9. Yeah, so Morikawa is in a rough spot now, and that is after Scotty Scheffler goes out and birdies 9. So Scotty Scheffler back in the lead at 8 under. Morikawa and Aubert 7 under behind him, but Morikawa most likely dropping a shot, and Max Homa on 10 right now is still 6 under, but in the fairway. So
if Morikawa keeps hitting fairways, he'll be okay on the back. And if there's a sexier shot in golf for me off the tee than that low draw they have to sling on 10 that runs for 1.5 miles, that's what Max Homa just threw one out there, and that's what I was looking at. It's a real sexy shot. But Colin Morikawa, hang in there, buddy. We're going to get through this together.
Yeah, it's interesting because a couple ideas came to mind, both from the 90s, of course. Bud, you appreciate this. Adams Idea hybrids. Remember those? The first hybrids were the Adams Idea, and we had tour pros using them. They bagged them right away. And then you had this influx of the zebra putters, the roll face putters. You remember those?
Is it Nick Price? I think won one of his PGAs with those.
It reminds me of the jailbird of last year when Wyndham Clark figured out his putting woes. Lucas Glover didn't lose 8 strokes around because he went to a jailbird putter. It came down to just advancing technology for what fits the golfer. And that's what leads me to Tiger Woods back in the late 90s, early 2000s on that amazing run. Everybody was buying Nike clubs because they thought they were buying Tiger's clubs. Tiger has everything dialed into the quarter gram swing weight wise, tipping point wise, grip width wise. We're talking minuscule differences in what he prefers versus what he simply can't play. And so your Nike drivers, and he bagged a Scotty Cameron putter with a Ping rubber grip for 2 decades. And it's like it's not any different from what we see here. Is these guys have sponsorships, but a lot of the clauses in those sponsorships allow for that alteration so that they can get by with it.
Oh, for sure. And if you saw the movie Air recently, the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, you talk about right when they show Michael Jordan the shoe, the designer automatically goes in, don't worry about it. This isn't what you'll be wearing. We'll sculpt yours. We'll get a mold of your foot and the same kind of thing. So real quick, he brought up Tiger Woods, which shocker. We're talking about the Masters on Sunday and somebody mentions Tiger Woods. But Bo, I didn't know if this was going on. I do appreciate the zebra putter shout out and those 90s references because Adams and that hybrid movement, I was a purist growing up. I played blade irons, Wilson staff blades. My dad was like, here you go, son, go figure out how to play golf with these. And when the hybrids came around, you were a wuss if you went to those. Skip ahead. There's guys carrying
the ball off the ground with a 3-iron.
Yeah, you can't hit a 4-iron. What are you, lazy? And and so like the thing is with the Tiger clubs and how dialed in he is. Hank Haney, his swing coach, Golden Age auctions right now just closed. They did a week-long thing. Everything from the Hall of Fame in St. Augustine that's getting shipped up to the Pinehurst. They're selling a bunch of the stuff that's not going. The Andy Warhol of Jack Nicklaus just sold for 1.1 million or whatever. But what else was in there was a wedge that Tiger Woods pulled out of his personal bag in his garage, handed to Hank Haney and said, here, I have tuned this to my personal specifications. This is my club. This is how you can coach me in my short game. So coming full circle here. Bo, sincerely do appreciate seeing you on this almost holiest of golf days.
Yes, and as always, thank you, Bo. Sorry for the feedback that my mic. Apparently, my mic is just too good. It just picks up the world. So I'm glad we got that figured out. Oh, look, and Bud's even got to tinker with it even more. Yeah, is it good now?
Go gambling because I can hear noise.
But Bo, real fast, tell everyone where they can find you, what you got coming up right now, and this is your moment right here.
All right, you can find me at Bo_McBigTime. I write PGA betting and DFS for betting pros and fantasy pros. I also host the 19th hole live every Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern with Connor Coughlin on In Between Media. So you should always like and subscribe to that show because we're hitting winners. We've been hitting winners like we're usually we like to say we're the sneak preview of the PGA Tour because we're calling guys 18 months before anybody knows who the hell they are.
That's what people want. That's fantastic. So definitely check out Bo. Always good content. Thank you again for joining us. We're going to take a quick break here to hear from Underdog, and then when we come back, we got Brian Kirshner joining us. So stick around. We'll be back in a quick 47 seconds.
Fantasy Sports Corp and Underdog Fantasy have teamed up to start your fantasy season off in the win column with Best Ball. What is Best Ball? It's quite simply the easiest way to win. No team management, no trades, no waivers. It's their biggest contest ever and it has only gotten bigger. You simply have to sit and win. You don't even have to set your lineup. Always get your best score every week. Just enter a contest, draft your team, and Underdog will do the rest. What could make this even better? How about free money, up to $100 using our exclusive promo code? Go online now and use the promo code DIVPIV to double your deposit up to $100. You tell them Gingerbread sent you. Good girl.
Welcome in, Brian. Brian, first of all, my audio has been an absolute shit show today. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I can hear you now. It's been a nightmare here. I guess that's what happens with live events. First and foremost, so I started talking to you a few years ago. We've connected on some betting stuff. Do you have anything still live that you are absolutely sweating your ass off on right now? Are you still in the running to make some big money today?
Yeah, so I have $500 on Scotty Scheffler at 6-1.
Oh, you're getting specific. Okay.
So yeah, I would say I'm in the midst of a sweat currently.
You certainly are, sir.
Yeah, so I went Scotty single bullet this week, which I never do. If you follow my Twitter, a lot of people know that I actually hate Scotty Scheffler. But this week, I just felt like it was the right thing to do. And I was a lot more upset 20 minutes ago but he's since went birdie.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in the midst of a pretty good sweat right now.
Not only did Scheffler go birdie, Morikawa threw in that double bogey with that disastrous bunker shot. So Aubert one back, Homa two back. So we got ourselves
And Homa just
a good finish. And Homa just birdie, so he's going to push to 7 now. You're right.
Yeah.
You're like 2 seconds ahead of me here. So 7 under,
Okay,
7
I'll
under for
wait.
Homa,
I'll
Aubert.
wait.
No, you're good. You're good. But I think a lot of people, at least on our network here, is probably first introduction to you, Brian. You love putting out the bets and
Did you
the
listen to
DFS.
just now, Brian? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us on Masters Sunday.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Glad we could do this.
I lost you. This delay just got out of control. I will say, if we're caught back up live now, which I think we just got bit by the Russians just attacked us, or maybe it's China hacking us in, or it's fucking Ludwig Aubert just dropped. Oh, that was a replay. I think we're dead.
Can you hear me now? Am I back? You take it, but oh, we're like on golf. Oh. I still see him move. Can you hear me, Brian?
I'm good. I can hear you, but
oh, you can hear us. Okay, it might be Bud. You know, I think it was Bud actually that went out. So I think he thought it was
Bud
me.
is frozen for me currently.
Okay, that's what it is then. Because I don't blame him for thinking it was me. I'm the one that's been having audio issues all day. So Bud went out here. So let me just pick this up. So like I was saying before I thought I was out. You're one of my favorite followers on Twitter. Not only because of your bets, your DFS plays and whatnot, but you also are very opinionated. You don't shy away from sharing what you feel about the current state of golf or the people or whatever. I do have to ask you though. I got to ask you because I noticed this tweet last week, and I felt a certain way about it, and I want to like hear your explanation of it and see if I understand it. The Jordan Spieth situation. Yes, that's the reaction.
First question. Okay, I'm glad we're starting out hot.
I want to come out hot because I want to be able to sweat the bet towards the end of the segment here. I want to get this out of the way because I want to know because you came out and if I remember the tweet correctly, you called him a scumbag. You called him a scumbag, and that seemed strong to me, given the situation. That, in my opinion, he played within the rules. He took advantage. Yes, maybe he took advantage of the rules, but hey, that's golf. Was it more? Did you more so have an issue with him, or just at the end the state of the nature of the rule?
I'm fine admitting that calling him a scumbag for that was a little bit over the top. I was just kind of shooting from the cuff in that moment. Like I genuinely think he's a good guy. Like I don't have any issues with Jordan Spieth, but I think a lot of people are kind of relating to what happened with him to people getting TIO relief when they hit a shot. And there's a massive difference between launching your sand wedge into a building that's 70 yards away from the green, like has absolutely no impact on the hole, not close in any way, shape, or form to get relief. I have an issue with that. And I'm not under the impression that every single tour pro would have done that because that was really bending the rules. And that was just a little bit out of line for me. Now, is he a scumbag? No, I mean, that's kind of a crazy thing to say. But I did have a lot of issue with the actual drop.
All right. So thank you, Brian. I appreciate your patience in coming back. Are we back now? We're
back. I can hear you. You're good.
Ooh.
And just to clear up again, that was Bud's issue, not mine issue. Just want to clear that up.
1,000,000%.
No, it's all good. I can't believe how viral that tweet went. Like people were coming at me.
So I'm glad I came back at this point because I even texted him and I was like, look at this. And then I sat in it for a minute, Brian, and I really looked at it and I was looking at it. I was like, you know what? I kind of get where he's coming from and why he went there. It's kind of like if you're with your buddy and you're out playing and you see him bend the rules, you motherfucker. Like you're being a scumbag right now. Like, no, I get it. What you're doing might not be against the rules, but is it really in the spirit of the game? So I did a full 180 after I texted him originally because I started thinking and it was really Cutter the Caddy brought it up where the biggest thing is the fact that an official didn't say pause. Every other drop that we do in this game of golf has that addendum that says no closer to the hole, no closer to the hole, no closer to the hole. They could have
That's
given
true.
him relief from that scoreboard on top of that fucking building, and it didn't have to go closer to the hole. They could have just drawn a really long line backwards and said, "Here's your relief." So, Brian, I'm with you, and I actually was glad you put it out there like
Yeah, it's
that
just like
because also
so against the spirit of the game to like legit launch your sand wedge. Like it wasn't even the clubhouse like behind the green. Like
he might as well have just
had
thrown it.
no bearing on the hole at all.
I wish he would have
But yeah,
thrown it.
that
If he
was
would have
just
picked it up and thrown it, that would have been better.
yeah, like it was an aggressive tweet. I will admit that, but I did have issue.
No, but that's why I truly enjoy following you on your socials because you don't hold back and you live in the moment, and sure, maybe sometimes it can be a much for the moment as you just submit it, but still it's entertaining. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's good.
And if you haven't done it already, at Brian Kirshner, it is a great follow. I've been following you, and I love your passion for Ludwig Aubert right now, and just ball strike it like a man. Why don't you? He's another one this week where I don't know real quick, if you were having a cup of coffee with somebody, or actually let's just say you're going to play one par 4 with somebody, what would be your golf story? How did you where'd you grow up? How'd you get introduced to the game? Did you play as a kid? Was it kind of an older thing? How did we, and where does golf live in the universe of Brian's development?
Yeah, so I started golfing freshman year of college. Played a lot of sports growing up, but never golf. Got into golf, immediately really liked it. Started out kind of slow, obviously. And then in college, actually like post-pandemic, once golf came back, that's when I started getting into betting. So I started betting on golf, which was like a very natural kind of thing to do. And I hit some bets and I realized how great of a sport it is to bet on. And then I just started posting my plays on Twitter and tweeting, and like that's where I am now. Like it's totally just grown completely organically. People like to follow me. I don't know why particularly, but people do. And as for golf playing, I play once a week. I love golf. I'm about a 16 handicap.
My guy.
Usually shoot like high 80s, low 90s. But I love to play. That's how I like to spend my time with my friends, is to go out and play golf. And obviously golf is a big part of my life and, obviously something I'm very passionate about.
2 more follow-ups before Andrew takes the talking stick back away from me. 3 more follow-ups. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a LaCroix.
LaCroix.
So I don't like to drink on Sundays when I have work the next day. I don't like
that's
to be
fair. That's a
fair
point.
Just having a nice LaCroix.
Just put this to the side then.
Where are you? Yeah, I'll take my coffee black. That's where I'm rocking on Sundays. Where are you located? I missed this part.
I
was
live
in the
on Long
John
Island, which is outside of New York City.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you for clarifying for the country bumpkin from North Florida.
Yeah, I don't know where you guys are from. I don't know.
Originally, I'm from North Florida, but I live in New England now. What I call born again New England. I married a Mainer. But here's the real question: you're chairman of Augusta National in a hypothetical. What's one thing that you immediately say, "No mas, we're done with this at the Masters"? And then what's a change that you would want to implement, or just it can be minor, big, anything at all?
I think a change would definitely just to be lower the ticket prices a little bit. I would say make it more affordable for people to go and maybe have more lottery selections. Wait, Scotty's lining this up. Do it.
Look at that camera angle too, through the trees. Right between the oh, you fist pumped already. We hadn't seen it yet. There it is. There it is.
Come on.
So 2 stroke lead now for Scotty Scheffler at 9
Listen,
under.
good news gets to Long Island before it gets all the way up here to Bunk.
I'm watching like CBS straight from.
That's what we got.
So we are too. That's why it's crazy. Apparently, the signal does get to you first.
Half a second beyond it. All right, so back to you. You're in charge.
Yes.
Ticket prices come down.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a change you want to implement. And what was my other question?
So he said ticket prices and lottery. He wants more lottery spots.
Got it.
Yeah, and then honestly, I think if I'm not mistaken, Andrew has DM'd me about Live before.
Yes.
It honestly, I would have given maybe 1 or 2 exemptions for Live people this week.
Okay.
To be completely honest, I think it would have made the event a little bit better. Am I going to die on a hill that Dean Burmeister should be in the Masters? No, but
well, yeah, that's not a hill.
I do understand the point that Taylor Gooch and maybe Louis should be in the Masters. I don't think that's taking anything away from the event, and I would like to see something like that.
And yeah, right. I have DM'd you about Liv before because, and honestly, I go back and forth and trying to figure out if you're a supporter of Liv or not because you're very vocal about golf, and so it's sometimes you seem like you're a supporter, sometimes you're not. Like, Liv, it
Labels
seems
with
like
this guy.
No, it's not labeled, but I'm just saying it seems like you watch more Liv than the two of us. Like we very much watch from like a kind of an outside view. I think you like intake more of it than we do. You probably know a bit more about Liv than we do. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Are
that
these?
might be just because I bet on it. Like I'm not like watching for like the sanctity of the game. Like I just watch it if I have bets on it.
But that's a perfect freaking segue into the development of golf when we talk about how PGA Tour's lost 20% of their audience, and obviously they're not coming back automatically, and they didn't go straight to Live because the numbers don't show it. So is things like, let's start betting on good. Some of these like YouTube matches that are out there. Could you imagine if the Sweet 16 from this Monday qualifying series down at Myrtle Beach that we're going to find out, I guess, in a couple weeks? Who
I can't wait.
You know what I'm talking about, Brian?
Wait, so did that happen?
1,000,000%.
Like
it was played.
Ago.
It was played a month ago. And
That's
right now,
so dumb to me.
So listen, no, I think it's brilliant.
No,
So
why didn't they like televise it or like broadcast it? Like, why do they do it so far in advance?
So Myrtle Beach, the Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce or whatever, who's the chief sponsor of that tournament, said, "We'll do it if we own the content and we own the rights to the stuff." And then
they basically wanted to edit it.
Yeah, they want to package it into a 90-minute YouTube video that is then debuted, and that's how the results. Ludwig, and that's how the results are kind of put out there. The bigger picture for me is if this gets eyeballs like it's going to get, like I want to see where Fat Perez finished. I guess he shot a number, but I want to know that would be where could you see a year from now? Why not? DK all of a sudden says, "Sure, we know that we'll sanction it. We'll get together with them. We'll get secure stuff. And when good and Divots and Pivots go head to head, and they give us, a couple strokes aside for the dead weight."
And who is Pivot?
I'm Divot. He's Pivot. I'm the golf guy. He's more of the. So this all started like a couple years ago. He put out just a random tweet that said, "Hey, anybody know about the PGA and golf?" And golf has been in my DNA since I was just a little guy. And so it just kind of started that way.
And to be fair, I watched golf. I was a fan of golf. I played fantasy golf, but I did not know the history that Bud knows. I needed someone who knew the history and the ins and outs of being an actual like good golfer, because I sucked.
And I agree, Brian. I think at some point it would be kind of cool for Augusta National. It's still a limited field. It's 80 some odd guys. Why not throw a couple of bones out there? I think it is because there's just too many unknowns, and the people who are in the know might be giving signals like don't even engage because Live may or may not be a thing. We don't know where it stands in the negotiations of the PIF investment in PGA Tour Enterprises, et cetera. And I agree with you though. It feels weird having a major without Louis, runner-up Louis Oosthuizen. He's always good for a top 5, top 10.
Wait, I have a better answer. My biggest change I would make if I was the chairman of Augusta National is I would have more TV. I would have like a main feed before 3:00. That would be the change.
Right.
So that's fair because. So I feel like it's because they know that everybody tends to watch it on their website or on the app, like because that it's become so known as the most accessible app. But I agree to be sitting at a bar earlier before we even started this and knowing that the CBS wasn't even airing it till 2 or 3:00. That's a little outrageous. Even a normal tournament will start at least on a Sunday. They start at like 1.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you think about it, for the Mexico Open, there's a main feed that starts at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I'm on it. ESPN,
crazy. Like,
ESPN Plus is streaming main feed focus at 8:30 a.m. for us degenerates to know, who's making birdies and who's making bogeys. I agree, and their idea of forcing us into the app, because Andrew's right, 100%.
Yeah,
it's the only reason. It wasn't until 2002 that they even showed the front 9. So
I know, yeah.
And I mean, I remember I was at University of Georgia when that happened because I learned 2 things that day. A, I learned that that was going to be the first year of the front 9. And B, I learned what Sunday beer was because where I grew up in Florida, there were no laws about buying beer on Sundays.
Yeah.
There's a lot of no laws when you grow up in Florida. And then so on Saturday, we had to go pick up all the beer for that Sunday and that Masters. More TV, I agree, because if there's any critique, if there's ever a critique that we've been hearing, and I think Dan Rappaport has got a great finger on the pulse for this, the guy from Foreplay, he'll kind of calculate. He'll be like, all right, Liv just teed off, and we've already seen 18 shots in the last 90 seconds. So there's something to that. Once the action is out there and the people are on there, give us more, feed the beast. And IBM's already the chief, sponsor anyway. So maybe go back to just leaning into more.
I love how you just felt the need to classify Dan Rappaport as the guy from Foreplay. I feel like Dan Rappaport's hit the level where we all know who Dan Rappaport is at this point. But which brings me to
we are about growing the game here, sir, and not everybody is is scrolling their social medias for what the guys from Barstool are saying.
So Brian, something I do want to get your opinion on is something that's happened this weekend with Zach Johnson. Obviously, the video was out there, and you said Dan Rappaport, and it made me think of it because he had a TikTok talking about his reaction to it. Zach Johnson was said to be cussing out the fans after he hit a double bogey putt, and the fans cheered for him. And then he comes out after the round and says he basically full denial. Oh, if I had cussed, I was cussing to myself. I can't even hear the fans and whatnot. Before I get my opinion, what was your reaction to the video? How do you feel about Zach Johnson in this case, in this one scenario? Because Zach Johnson's been very polarizing. I guess my bigger point here, Zach Johnson has not handled the loss of the Ryder Cup very well.
I think in general, like Zach Johnson hasn't always been the most likable guy. And I think that the Ryder Cup just kind of brought a lot out of him because he was such in the spotlight where a lot of people wouldn't really know Zach Johnson that well. And people were very upset with his Ryder Cup performance and like how he was a captain, and Americans were obviously upset about it. And that's come onto the course because a lot of people that go to events, not really Augusta, but they like to drink, they like to say stuff to golfers, and like he's just an easy target because no one likes him. And then what happened at the Masters, without a doubt, he was talking to the fans, and his response to it just made it way worse. And it's just another run of this guy just being extremely unlikable, even though he's a Masters and Open champion.
I'm just shocked that he even felt like he could get away with denying it when he very clearly started to walk away, stopped, turned his body, looked at the crowd, and said, "Fuck off," and tried to act like he was saying that to the whole. I mean, was he Happy Gilmore?
It reminds me. I was a middle school dean for a number of years. It reminds me when a student would be like, "No. See, I didn't call her a bitch. I said she was acting like a bitch."
Yeah.
Totally different. I wasn't listen, he didn't say fuck off to the fans. He said it at the fans. Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
It was a bad look, man. And I think you do have to eat it. Even if it's once you watch it back, it's like, oh no, just total coincidence that all that happened. I think if anything, he just apologizes to Augusta National for cursing out loud like that.
You guys golf, I don't feel like saying fuck off is normally something you say to yourself. Like if I miss a putt, I'm not gonna say, "Oh, fuck off." Like maybe it's not something I would normally say to myself if I was.
That's fair. I understand that. Yeah. I've actually guilty as charged of missing a 3-footer and being like, "Oh, fuck off, Barb." Barb is a nickname that comes from a different world. But that was a tough look, and I agree with your point earlier where it's not that he's not Patrick Reed hateable. He's just never been a likable guy. He doesn't bring a whole lot to milk toast. When your biggest flex is that you won the Masters by laying up on all the par fives, it's like, that's what we're going with. We're going to open with that, okay, buddy. I mean, you do you. It worked, and you get a champions dinner. But nobody really likes Gary Player that much right now anymore either, and he's there by the grace of just everybody, outliving everybody. But the Zach Johnson thing, I do get. I think the only person who was happy about it, really, that it all went down was Jason Day, who had been told like 24 hours earlier to take his vest off by Augusta National. Did you catch this, Brian? Where Jason Day?
Yeah, that's just very funny to me.
Me too.
It's very it's just very. I don't like that from Augusta, honestly. It just seems very dramatic. Them, but I don't like it. It's just very dramatic for me, and I understand why, and I understand that Malbon is doing that on purpose. But at the end of the day, it's a vest, and these guys are out here in their live fireballs outfits.
Right.
Bryson and his crushers.
Come on. I don't think that should have been unallowed. But
it reminds me of the kid.
Own rules there.
Yeah, they do it. They print money in the basement. It's like the kid in high school who there was these T-shirts when I was growing up, co-ed naked, and what was the other one? Big Johnson. I grew up in the South, and so Big Johnson was this brand of just redneck ass T-shirts that a lot of the schools were like, don't wear them. There's sexual innuendo, and blah 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 blah. And the kids would all just wear them, and you would just wait to see how long some teacher told you to turn it inside out. I think you're right. Malbon was just saying, hell yeah, well, this is the biggest stage in the world.
Yeah.
This is one of our guys. Go flash it. I think it was a bad look for. I think it happened during the round, if I'm not mistaken. And it kind of looks like that. That's the part where I'm like, come on, bro. Unless it was at the turn and somebody nicely said, Mr. Day. Actually, at that point, no. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm torn. I understand it, but I don't like it. I think you just let them finish the round, and then you say like, hey, Jason, no more big print, because they don't even allow. If you're a fan, they can turn you away for the stuff it's right there in like the thing. If you show up,
have you been?
No, I've not been. I've had to pass up tickets a couple times for stupid reasons, but I have not been. I know a bunch of people have gone. I'm obsessed. I've read a lot of the material on it, but apparently right there in the patron guide, if you were to come in with just something big and graphic across your chest, like a Run DMT T-shirt or something like that, they would just look at you and just say, sorry, you can't come in. I mean, obviously it has to be golf attire, and even some of the loudmouth golf. There's a reason that John Daly drives he has a big bus that he goes around to these different tournaments. It's kind of like the John Madden of golf. And he's got this big RV, and he sets it up at a Hooters down the street from Augusta National, and he sells his merch because you can't fly that kind of flag in there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So quick question again. So we did the Augusta National. If you're chairperson for the day, what are the changes you could make? What, if anything, and you might have you might have covered this with Andrew when I was in the John, we're still calling it a John. I was in the bathroom.
I think you
Sorry.
can, yeah.
You can still call it a John. Or is the Jane? What bets right now are you looking at scoreboard watching, sweating? Do you have any top 5s, top 10s, or are you still just looking at, overall?
Yeah, so I have $500 on Scotty 6-1.
Oh, yeah, you missed that.
I did miss it at the Open.
You did miss that, yeah.
Mea culpa. Sorry, fans. Sorry for the recap.
No,
I'm that kid who came to class late. And here's the thing. I don't have that kind of
bit of good luck for me. He's been good since I came on.
And Brian, I really like you, and that's why I feel bad. I'm rooting for Morikawa so I'm in a league that you just Bovada odds from Vegas. There's 5 tiers for the majors. You pick one from each tier, and whoever basically most money wins that week. There's like 30 of us in the league. It's a phenomenal little experiment. But I kind of want Scotty to win too, because I think the sport we need another that guy. We need another, he's it now. It is, for a long time, it was in the majors. Tiger of the field, who you got? And even Scott Van Pelt earlier this week at a phenomenal little thing was talking about, Scotty or the field. He's like, if you're just talking about from a value perspective, the field, who I think is going to win, Scotty. He's like, and that's just kind of how it is. And I think that's what everybody thought with Tiger for a while. We thought that with Rory for 5 minutes. Brooksy had his moment recently. I think we hoped that from John Rahm after getting a U.S. Open and then a Masters a little while later. But nobody seemed to really pick up that kind of momentum. And maybe if Scotty picks us up today, Brian picks up a little cash. O'Bear
just double bogeyed.
Yeah. Yep. I saw him put in the water.
I know. Sorry, we're late news for you. I know.
No. It's
life's just faster in New York.
No, honestly, what I will say about Scotty, he's leading by 2 right now. Anything could happen. He's not guaranteed to win. He didn't even play that well this week. He really didn't have his A game at all. And I know he had 3 really good holes there, but he made that double. He put one in the water. He's missed a ton of short putts. Like today, he hasn't been great other than these last 3 holes. Like, it's kind of crazy because hasn't really. Oh no.
So that's what I was saying earlier. Is that to me, honestly, Max Homa has been the most steady and consistent guy all week. Like, he's just playing smart, steady, calm golf. He's not had these big numbers. He's not had anything crazy for like eagles or anything. He's just been around, and I feel like that's what you got to do to win at Augusta. And you're right.
Morikawa just put it in the water.
Oh, did he really? Did I just miss that? It's right in front of me and I missed it? Okay. Well, look, this is quickly becoming a 2-man race then, which I'm fine with. Like I said, I just wanted excitement. I wanted it to be close. Scheffler's here on a second shot on the 11th par 4 right now. Let's see what he does here before we wrap it up here with Brian. Because this is really what we wanted to be here for, is these last handful of holes.
Yeah.
What's he?
It's called the second 9. The second 9, so not the back 9, the second 9.
Thank you, but I'm trying to draw it out because I knew I wasn't talking for a little while. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We should have Brian. I want to have you on again next year for the Masters Week. I think it would be a fun, fascinating conversation to pick through Masters traditions with Brian Kirshner.
Yeah, I think that would
for
be
sure.
good. I agree.
I don't know if you guys do like a preview pod or anything, but I'd be more than happy to come on and talk in a more like to preview the tournament, not react to what's happening.
And what are you wearing down there? Is that Johnny O? What's the what? Oh no!
What do you do? What do you do? Oh no!
God, airmails it on 12.
Oh no! So our issue with having Brian on for the preview show is that we have shows at the exact same time on the exact same day of the week. So we'll figure it out. Both Tuesday night, so we're gonna have to figure that out. And I agree with Buddy. I want you on to preview instead. Tuesday. That's right. Brian, so that we can let you go and sweat your Scheffler bet here. Where can people find you? We just made reference to Tuesday nights, but tell us the details. Where can people?
Yeah, I mean, if you want, you can follow me on Twitter at Brian Kirshner _. I do a pod every Tuesday. It's called Tap and Birdie. I have a guest on. We talk about who we like for the week. It's nothing serious. It's something I do for fun that I enjoy. And if you want to have more golf content in your life, feel free to follow and listen. But I appreciate you guys having me on. We got some good luck. Some good things happened while I was on. And I wish you all the best of luck with your bets and everything you guys got going on this week.
Well, we appreciate you, Brian, and thank you again. We'll be right back after this quick break. We're going to hear from the guys over at Scoreboard Addicts again, and then after that, we got the Millie Goats coming on next. And we're going to see where they are because they were sweating the millionaire on DK. We'll see what the mood is like as he comes on here. We'll be right back after this quick break.
This is the Scoreboard Addicts Podcast. Starring Nick, TJ, and The Rook. Our shows are for the average sports fan who likes drinking, talking sports, and talking shit. We cover all sports from the MLB to the NHL and everything in between, as well as review movies and discuss pop culture.
Dude, he wouldn't be in the NFL if he couldn't play at this level. All right? You get this. Good day. I can't believe you just said that. It was the stupidest thing I've heard you say in weeks. All right?
Saying he can never play at this level?
That was the best thing I've ever heard.
Ruining the magic.
That's a really interesting point.
We all know of shady underground places that give massages and happy endings. And does it not seem out of the realm of possibility?
It's an embarrassment. I think fans are tired. Because it's a clown show organization. Guess what, Joe? It is
still a man's sport. This is still hockey. Step the fuck up. He's looking. I don't know why, but he looked at me. I'm looking at you. I see him looking at me. He goes. He's trying to eat it real low key.
Join us Thursdays at 8 o'clock for your regular New York sports talk show.
Oh yeah.
And here we are. Look, I got one question. I got one question, sir. Are you still in it?
No, we're dead.
Oh no, we're dead. How dead? Who killed you?
So of course I tune in, right? I tune in, and what do I get? I start getting updates on my phone. Lucas Glover has doubled. Lucas Glover has doubled again. Cam Young has doubled, and I'm like,
oh, no. And that's why they weren't picked for the Ryder Cup. Too soon?
I'm sitting there last night. I think I was in the top 80, and I'm like, okay.
You were texting me saying you were like top 40. You sent me screenshots. You were high.
I was up at one point. I was 13th in the Millie at one point.
Damn.
You can't look at it that early. It's like having stocks, and you just gotta let it ride. For folks of you who are joining us for the first time, introduce yourself real quick. And I have a question to lead off with. Where can I get one of those hats?
I do like that hat.
They're actually we had this custom made for our own little brand because it's kind of our like make the damn cut, because if you don't, you're in trouble. It doesn't matter what you do. You cannot viably compete for the million DraftKings if you don't everybody make the cut. So that's rule number one. I think it has its logo on The logo's over here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. It's covered by the headphones for a second.
Yeah. But okay, so I'm AK from the Millie Goats. We play DraftKings much, and we communicate back and forth. So we play DraftKings, and we do a lot of sports jokes, sports satire, things like that. So we cover a wide range of things. We've had some interviews, some cool stuff, but mostly it's just basically right now what you're watching me unfolding and melting on camera is basically how everything goes.
Sweating bets.
It's
sweating
just
fucking
like
bets. There's two things here that we have to follow up on. One of them is because we have fans all over the dozens of the throngs of DNPers across the country. What's with the Mountaineers flag behind you? What's with the App State, A in everybody's face? I'm saying that out of a place of love. I went to Georgia. I'm a big Southeast guy, but I'm just curious. Let our fans know, why is Appalachian State making an appearance on a Masters Sunday special?
App State is where we went to school. That's where we went to school there. Javi and I played football there from the years of 2005 and 2009. So we were there during the.
You were there. You were there.
We were the glory years there.
That's all. That's all we have to say. You were there. Fucking love that. The second thing, the make the cut thing. That's actually something with this whole divide in golf, whatever the hell people want to put it together. The facts are the facts, and the facts are the PGA Tour numbers are down, live numbers are non-existent, and a lot of eyeballs are going to the internet. And I don't know if it was Rory or Max Homa or one of the guys was commenting soon. He said, "I'll tell you what, on Friday, quit. I know everybody thinks that you want eyeballs on the big names, Thursday and Friday. We want to see so-and-so at 5:30 in the afternoon. No, we want to know on Friday who's sweating the cut, and start finding, just focus on those, have a cut watch." I mean, honestly, if Golf Channel should spin off on this right now and just have a streaming cut watch the entire time, kind of how NFL Red Zone exists. The Golf Channel should create the Red Zone for
the cut zone.
The cut zone. That's just it.
I love it.
And maybe that's it. Maybe the Millie Goats. Maybe we have to do that. We'll start doing some specials on Fridays for the major weeks. We'll start sweating some cuts together.
We could call it the bread zone, because unless you make that,
that's it.
You're not making any money.
Bread zone.
There we go. You know what? I love all of this. This is fantastic. What do we got going on here?
Bryson sucking wind.
God, dude, he was another that just yesterday he completely ripped my heart out on 15 after he completely just ducked it into the woods there on his second shot coming out of the pine straw, and then dunks it in the water. And I'm like, well, it's over now. Well, now he brings me back on 18 because he hammers that ball home from the approach.
That was gorgeous.
And I'm jumping on the couch. My wife's like, what? I'm like, we have a shot tomorrow. We have a legitimate shot. And I forgot that I had Lucas Glover and Fitzpatrick and Cam Young, who's supposed to be really good on Sundays and majors, is not today. So
well, Fitzpatrick was off to a decent start to the day too, but he just couldn't. He didn't do enough. He just didn't do enough.
He didn't. It was, and then I watched in the same price range. Tyrrell Hatton goes out there and goes like 500.
He's having him.
In Fleetwood,
he's having
same
himself
thing.
a day. Fleetwood's up in fifth now. He's 4 under total now. So yeah, Fleetwood's up there now. Barry's going backwards on Morikawa's going backwards. So let's see what.
Well, we knew.
I want to know what.
That didn't.
Well, yeah, I was not on Morikawa at all because I can't trust him. I just. He's been playing too bad, too inconsistent. I just can't trust Morikawa. So I was fine being off him. It almost more so annoyed me that he finally was doing good. And I saw him rising up the leaderboard early. So I was like son of a bitch. Like, he's right there. You got to be kidding me.
Homa, same thing. Homa, hey, hasn't been playing worth a lick all year. And then,
Scotty's about to make a bogey. This is coming back to
did he
Homa.
really?
Yeah, he just made a bogey.
He did bogey. Oh, here we go. Yeah, but Homa's here. He's gonna put this close to have a par putt.
Homa's got a prayer for par on 12.
I feel like
there we go.
Oh shit, that's bad.
I feel like such a jerk too because I want to root for Homa, but I'm like, I need you to suck so that you fall way down.
So that's the thing with Homa. This is the first time I don't think I think I didn't play Homa in a major. Like Homa's one of my guys in major championships. I don't expect him to win, but I
You're a
expect him to be
full-blown
good.
homosexual. We know this about you.
We've talked about this before. And I didn't this time because I was like, he's just. I'm just at the point where I got to see it to believe it because he keeps burning me in majors. And of course, I don't play him. And what do you know? It's freaking right there.
He's sitting number 2, one shot behind the
Yeah.
lead Masters. It's
And
the
they're
most
coming to the-
frustrating. Hey, Lucas
tell you
Glover
what-
got a birdie.
What did he
There you go,
birdie?
you're
What
back-
hole? What did it
back
say?
to it.
16. 16.
Well, of course.
par
16 is listen. Sunday 16. Everybody knows. Throw it up there on the right side. Let it trickle down to the
Love
hole.
it.
All you got to be is
Yeah.
15 feet short and just not putting downhill. That's all you got
Yes.
to do. So
How about
No, but
did you
these guys-
see?
Oh, I love
go
it.
ahead.
Did you
Feed me,
see
Goose.
Willie Z on that hole? Did exactly what you
No.
said, and then missed like a 2-foot birdie putt.
Oh no.
That's
From
on brand
below
for
the
Willie
hole.
Z though.
You're like,
Will Zalatoris. I'm going to go out on a limb, and Willie Z, if you're watching, we can do a live putt off. I'm terrified, but I'd do it. I'm probably more effective from inside 4 feet than Will Zalatoris right now.
But are you now? You know, I know you mentioned some putting woes in your golf game recently, and you recently switched putters. You took the Scotty Scheffler.
I haven't switched yet. So
I
AK,
thought you did, and you were switching back. Okay.
So AK, where are you in your personal? I know you love to bet and Masters. I love that we get to see you during the major seasons, and I love following you sweating bets the rest of the year. But in the game of golf, do you play, and where are you in your skill level or your journey?
So, I just played. Friday for the first time in probably 10 months. Before I had kids, I
Fair.
used to play probably once or twice a week.
Okay,
So
so
at one-
fair.
Right.
So you're
at
familiar
one
with the
point-
game. You know what you're doing.
Yes. At one point, I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any means, but I used to be able to play a pretty decent round. Now,
Right,
I
yeah.
will say this. I played 2 rounds in the last year, and I've used the same ball for all 2 rounds. Well, no,
So
I
that's
lost
impressive.
it. I lost it on 16 this last round.
That's still you go 18 holes with the same egg, and that's something that's nothing to shake a stick at. What Andrew's getting at is I've had this 1997 Scotty Cameron Newport since 1997, and my wife sent it out to California a few years ago. Had it refinished with my name on it and everything. It's my baby. I've got it lead taped up to perfection. And then out of nowhere in this offseason, I started, and it was really when Scotty switched to his mallet. And then Colin Morikawa, I know we're dunking on him because he's dunking in the water. He switches putters mid-major. And what I loved was his answer, because I'm a tinkerer as well, but then I always go, don't try to outsmart yourself. Stick with what you've been doing. Well, if you're putting like shit, and that's his point. They were like, do you do this often? He started laughing. He's like, yeah, all the time. He's like, if it's not working, you make us change. And so I'm trying to take that approach, and I'm going towards a mallet putter this year myself. And I'm a bit of a brand whore. I like saying, I'm one of those guys. I like saying that, yeah, this is my Scotty Cameron Newport. I got it from an assistant pro. He was unloading his bag after failing his PAT test the 3rd time, and he sold it to me for $50. And it's like, it's my baby, but it can be my baby in the basement. And I think I'm going to take a test drive with a mallet putter. So thanks for bringing up a sore subject. Really appreciate that.
Hey,
I'm struggling.
Your
with
fault. Your
decision,
fault for putting it on the topic list. Your fault.
You're going to Mallet Land.
I'm going to Mallet Land, and I hate to say it's kind of like we got friends who just they had kids, they had a second kid, so they bought another SUV, and they were not ashamed to say that when they test drove the Toyota Sienna, and if you're a parent and I say Sienna, you're like, yeah, it's the minivan, like everyone knows
I
that.
got you. You don't. Have to
They were like, they said afterwards they got out. They ended up getting I want to say a 4Runner instead, just out of respect for themselves, I think. And then because that's what they said, they got in and they started looking around. They're like, damn, the bucket seats, the captain seats, the bells, the whistles, the 3rd rows, the whole bit. I think that's kind of what I felt like with the mallet putter, where I'm like, it's forgiving, it's heavy, everything feels like a clean strike. I seem to feel more confident with it, but I just want my Mustang. Damn it, I don't care if this is more comfortable and more reliable. I think Flash is better. But then I go back to my high school baseball coach. Every year at the end of the year, he would give all the players a index card, and on one side it would have like the things you're doing well, and on the back side it would have the things you need to work on, like throughout the summer, like hit the cage, do this, weights, whatever. After my sophomore year, because I had just done the whole bit where I was like taping up my wrists and I was wearing like armbands, and I had a decent defensive year, but hit like shit. And all he wrote on the back of mine that year was, "This game is about substance, not style." And I was like, oh, that stuck with me forever. And so that's what I go back to, is Coach Ashcroft just reminded me that of, who gives a shit if it's a big ping Scottsdale TR crazy monstrosity. And really the silver lining is when I go down to Pinehurst later this year for the US Open, I'm going to be in. Are you all still in North Carolina by any chance?
Cam Davis, Birdie.
There we go.
Cam Davis was the key, buddy, because he was.
Yeah, he was
1%. He was a 1%er.
Yeah, that's massive. And what you miss if you're just listening to us and watching the Masters, because we're so much more entertaining than the Masters, apparently.
1,000,000%.
Homa double bogeyed. Not only did he really mess up the 12th, he really fucked it up, and he went back to. So he is 3 strokes back now. Scotty Scheffler's on the green on 12, most likely in a good 2-putt shape to par and hold that 3-stroke lead. So what's shaping up to be super close and tight here. Damn, Scotty Scheffler is just showing the type of consistency he's shown all year.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's the best player in the world, right?
Yeah, that's why he's number one. And I like that's what Colin Morikawa said. He's number one in the world. I'm not scared of him, but he's number one in the world. Like, what do you expect?
And I'm fine with don't get me wrong. I'm fine with Scheffler winning this. If it's not Homa winning it, I'd rather Scheffler be winning it. I just want Homa because I like Homa. I'm just a big Max Homa fan, but sure, Scheffler winning is perfectly fine with me. I just hope it gets a little closer. That's all I want.
And I'm going to buy a new head cover for my mallet putter when I go down to Pinehurst. That's what I was getting at. So if you're still in North Carolina, AK, we'll hit you up when I come down in June. Whereabouts in North Carolina?
We're on the eastern part, New Bern, right now.
Okay. My buddy who just texted me out of nowhere probably about 2 months ago was like, "Hey, I just snagged an Airbnb in Pinehurst for the week, and it's like dirt cheap." And he was like, "You want to go?" So I have a 3-year-old, and I looked at my wife and I was like, "Happy Father's Day." So I'll be down there. I'll be down there Monday to Friday. I'm gonna do a show from down there. We'll hit you up.
Which week?
The week of the U.S. Open. So the Monday leading up to the U.S. Open. So I'm flying into Charlotte. We're gonna do 18 or 27 holes somewhere. Probably we're gonna do Tobacco Road and Tot Hill Farms for sure.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna figure out just wherever else we want to play. We're gonna play 18 or 27 on Monday. Go to the tournament on Tuesday. Go to the U.S. Open for a practice round. Wednesday, we'll play 36 somewhere in the area. And then Thursday, go to the first round. And then Friday, get another round in before my late flight home. And honey, if you're listening, I love you. I've never loved you more in my life. And yes, I will absolutely do anything that requires this trip to continue to, actually happen.
Yeah.
And thank you for letting him hang out with me today.
Absolutely. We were down at the beach earlier today.
Which beach?
That was Morikawa, wasn't it? Sorry to interrupt you. I think Morikawa just dumped it again.
No.
I thought that was that's the replay. Oh no, it's not a replay.
Is that the replay? No, I think he dumped it again.
No,
they're going back. They're going back to the miss.
He's hitting it in the water. There's 3 ball. What's going on here?
They're just going back through the miscues of the last few minutes. Like they just showed Homa airmailing 12.
Oh my God, I thought that was live. I thought Morikawa.
Everybody's been airmailing 12. That's where Benny On was earlier.
Now, so I want to get your opinion on this, AK, because I've heard a lot of people actually talk about this week, which surprises me. Like, leave well enough alone. But there's been talk. The question keeps coming up: should Augusta lengthen number 12? And they've not lengthened it to this point. Why lengthen it? Leave it the way it is. It's one of the most perfect holes in golf.
Yeah. What do you need to do about it? You see, people are hitting it in the azaleas up there,
right? But it's just for some reason I keep seeing this coming up as a comment. Like, oh, maybe if one thing
people are idiots.
Like they're trying to force change at Augusta. I'm like, no, this is the one place you don't need to change shit.
It's a similar mentality of trying to just increase the purse of golf tournaments, thinking that's going to increase people's interest and value. It's 12 has nothing to do with length or girth. It's about the environment. If you watch the Tiger Woods 2019 special, it was yesterday or Saturday, 2 hours or on 2 o'clock leading up into the coverage. They went back to 2019 and they just broke down, his kind of return to glory. And they spent a good 20 minutes on number 12 alone because that's where it all pivoted. That's where Molinari, Finau, Brooks, and Poulter all went in the water.
Yep.
So, and that's why when this point came up earlier this week, it's like, no, it's the greatest par 3 in golf. And Joe LaCava was on the bag for Tiger at the time, and he said, I even was looking up in the trees because once the second pro hits in the water, it's not, one pro hits it in the water, probably their mistake. They could have made an error. That second pro hits it in the water, then okay, the environment, something's weird. A third one in the water, and he's like, so you try to guess that wind from the tee, and then it's out into the bowl, and then it floats up in the air, and it's turning. It's similar to the effect of the 17th at TPC Sawgrass.
Yeah.
When you get those stadiums set up, and when the hills used to be higher, but now they have those stadiums and those big corporate tents, it creates this bowl effect where you don't need 210 yards. You just need, so like for 12, you got Rays Creek, you got a couple of bunkers. For 17th at Sawgrass, you got that entire pond. That's all you need for this. It's not rocket science.
No,
it's perfect.
And you had Gary Player before the Masters or right at the beginning of the Masters talking about, hey, they need to do something with the ball. This is getting out of control. And I think these guys are too good. And it's like, all right, here's what's happening with all this because they want to lengthen it. There's talk about lengthening the entire course to 8,000. What I've seen, and I'm like,
that's wild.
Fred Ridley said they support the rollback. Fred Ridley in the state of the game address, quote unquote, from Tuesday was like, this is exactly why I support and we support the rollback is because we don't want to lengthen the golf course. And I don't think it's for lack of resources or real estate. I think he's like, then it just does become an arms race. And so the one thing that Augusta National can do that all these other courses can't is they can manipulate the atmosphere better than anybody. They have all the technology under the greens, under the tee boxes and everything like that to where, okay, you're going to juice up Bryson. You're going to hit it 370 or, you're going to spin the ball. This ball's going to spin more. Fine. We'll just make the greens firmer, faster. Oh, you're going to take this out of play. They tried to tiger proof it famously after the 97 by introducing some obstacles and look how that worked out. Yeah. So as much as we try to outsmart this game, it's Augusta National. You don't fuck with it. There's a reason pimento cheese is still $1.50.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like, if you do lengthen the courses, you're basically, okay, Brian Harmon, for instance, done. Like he can't, and he was one of the guys we were looking at and we were like, no, he doesn't have the length, right? He doesn't have the length here. And of course, obviously he didn't play that well, but I mean, if you go lengthening the courses, you're just going to say, all right, you better be able to hit it 330, 350 off the tee every time, or that would be stupid.
But that's part of what these guys do as professional golfers. Some courses you need to methodically get around, and some courses you can pipe it as far as you can, and that's what you need to win. Like it's why we pick guys at certain courses and not another. It's part of the game. If every course was the same, then I'm sorry, but golf would be pretty freaking boring.
Yeah,
we'd have the same guys winning every single week, and that's one thing that this golf season's brought to the table that other golf seasons hasn't is parity. The way the golf season started with your Nick Taylors, your Dunlaps, like all these guys that we've famously quote unquote are no names. We know,
rookie.
We know their names, but your average golf fan doesn't know these guys. The fact that they're out here winning and now honestly making it harder to pick a majors because you're like, I know I should have picked them at the Masters. They've never played at the Masters before, but they're playing so well, and you look at the stats and you're like, yeah, they match up. Their physical game matches up for this course. You get tempted into picking them. It makes it more fun. It's more challenging. I don't want it to be easy.
No, I get everybody wants the next, 20-year run that Tiger had or whatever. But at the same time, like for me, watching Peter Malnati get up on the green and his kid run out there while he's got his yellow ball and his bucket hat and he's in tears because he's like, I never thought I'd be here. I'm like,
that's golf.
That's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in sports.
Hell yes.
I mean, like, give me that. Like, seeing these dudes get their first win, like the whole live and whatever thing. I'm like, if Peter Malnati wins a tournament, he played his best round and he earned it. You know what I mean? It's not like he lucked into it. That's a guy who put in years of work to get a win, and it's like to see it unfold. Like that shouldn't be a problem. That should be celebrated.
And that's not even like a no-name guy. Like, sure, to a casual fan, they don't know Peter Malnati, but Peter Malnati's on the freaking player board. Like, he's a guy who's respected by his peers. Like, this is a guy who has the respect of everyone in the game, and he's out for him that I had no issue with seeing guys like him win. I want that. I want to see the stories. And quite honestly, we've talked about this before. For people, like my girlfriend who isn't a golf fan, she's trying to get into golf. Like, those are the stories. Those are the wins that draw you into the game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to just see a guy killing the competition. You want to see why it's cool that they won. You want to see the families. You want to see the hugs and the kisses at the end, the tears. Like, golf is emotional. Yes. Let's lean into the emotional of it. I don't want boring. Like, that's why, I'm going to be fine with Scotty Scheffler winning this. It looks like he's going to. He could still collapse. We'll see. But I'll be honest. I think it's going to be a boring win because I knew he was going to win all week. And especially if he holds this lead and wins by 3, like, I'm not going to feel the need to watch the ceremony or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, okay, Scotty Scheffler won. He's still the greatest in the world right now. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Like, I tell you, we have a joke, like a running joke. Everybody's like, all right, who do we like this week? And I'm like, if Scotty Scheffler's on there, I'm playing lineups with Scotty Scheffler. I don't care.
Yeah,
I do not care if he's 12,000, 13,000. I will figure out a way to play Scotty Scheffler. I don't care.
Yep. I see it. And it's just The bottom line is you have to right now. He's just at that level.
The funny thing is like you're watching him playing. He's like he just doesn't have his stuff this week, and he's still three strokes up or whatever it is.
Three Strokes Up sounds like an emo song.
Hey, there you go. There's a band name. That's a band name.
Three doors down, 3 strokes up.
3 strokes up.
I think that's the only connection you made there, honestly.
The best thing is, so like there's a great kind of little subculture history of golf and the music industry. John Daly famously goes everywhere with his acoustic guitar and jams. There's one of the podcasts out there. They use a John Daly song as like their intro. Paul Azinger, I think, Peter Jacobson. Peter Jacobson was part of a thing called Jake Trout and the Fish. It was kind of like how, and then in the early 2000s, there was the boy band with Ricky Fowler and Bubba Watson. Everybody remembers the Bogey Boys.
They recently talked about bringing that back, if they ever would. Ricky was like, "Nah, I'm good."
Good
Gosh,
God.
I saw a picture of those guys.
That was so tough. That was so freaking tough. How did we get on music and golf?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're
brought
climbing
it
up
up.
the rankings.
I was gonna say, you want to ask. You're the one who brought up music and golf.
And then I got distracted by Jake Trout and the Fish.
We're
Jake
actually
Flounder
making a little run here late.
Talk to me.
Are you?
I don't know
Yeah,
that I'll
give
get
us
to
an
the
update.
top, but I'm back up into the top 600. So
All right.
I was.
So let's give people kind of like an insight to what that means when it comes to the millionaire. Like, so top 600. Like, what are you winning in the Millionaire Maker?
Right now, I'm winning.
If you want to share, we all know what it costs to get in. So I guess.
Yeah.
But
Actually, do us one better. Give the shot glass cup of coffee explanation for what is the Millie Maker for people like myself who are like super ignorant. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? The Millie Maker.
The Millie Maker is a contest on DraftKings, which has usually for the Masters and the Majors a couple 100,000 people that enter it, and you build a golf lineup. You pick 6 golfers. They accrue points over the course of the tournament, which is why cut day is so important. So when you pick your lineup, you're trying to get them to score as many points as they can via birdies, via positioning, wherever they rank. So every shot, every second, the scores are constantly changing. And basically to get to the top, you have to be damn near perfect. And you need to have at least 5 of your golfers need to be, I would say, at least in the top 10, and you've got to have the leaders. And so for quite some time this week, I was within the top 100, within the top 40, within the top 15, and I was making a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. And it was very hopeful because I'd never been up there at that point for the Millie Maker. Basically, the top prize for that contest is $1 million. And right now, throughout the tournament, I've been like 20 points back. So, and it's been weird today because all my guys started so late because they were up the leaderboard so high. So I've been dropping all day. So I try not to look at it very much because that was kind of a kick in the what.
It's so hard to really put yourself in that perspective. Like, no, it's because no one's played yet. I just dropped 20,000 positions, but it's because I don't have anyone playing. It's a mistake a lot of people make.
So where are you now?
Hold on, I gotta find it again. I'm 638 currently with 448 points, 18 holes remaining, and I am 34 back of first place.
638 out of how many?
450,000.
That is we don't have to talk about money, dollars, and cents, but just from a sheer kind of like entry perspective, think about it. So say how many entries again did you say? 100 and what?
450,000.
450,000.
Was it 450? Was it 450?
That sounds about right. I could check right now. I got 3 of them in there.
It's one of the biggest betting weeks of the year. But I mean, to put it in golf perspective, there's the U.S. Open every year. There's famously 10,000, 12,000 entries for 100 spots, and so that'd be like even making it to the first cut out of your local qualifier into the sectional. So like right now, you're on the golf's longest day of the year. It's Monday. You got that 36 holes to see if you can get that spot, and 600 out of hundreds of thousands of people is nothing to shake a stick at. Second time I've used that euphemism. But also with the Millie Makers, you're doing it old school. You're going organic. You're no batting gloves, just a little bit of pine tar, and we're going to hop in the cage and we're going to grind this out till we find that swing. There you're going up against MIT people who have got mathematical models, and it's a different game. It's almost like stock trading where you've got guys who human beings who know how to read the environment. And, well, the goat piss is turning a different color, so you want to sell your orange stock. There's that, and then there's the data wonks. And what side do you fall, or what camp do you put the millie goats in when it comes to approaching your bets each week when it's not golf?
We literally just watch a lot of golf, watch a lot of football.
That's how you should do it.
Now, and the thing is like, I build every single one. So I had won a couple tournaments already this year, like not big ones. But
trophies are trophies.
Yeah, you've had a good year.
That threw me way up into a nice little chunk of change in my bank account. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it big for the Masters. And I hand built 40 lineups because I had the cash to do so.
Sure.
And one of them crept way up there, and it's kind of sad to see what it's doing now. It's like,
can I just say, because you said you hand built, so I'm assuming you're not a fan of lineup generators, because I hate them. Lineup generators it feels like cheating, and two, I've tried them, and I feel like when I look at, like, I'll say, okay, make me 5 lineups with this pool of guys, and I look at what it spits out, and I can just look at it and immediately say, I don't like that. Like, that doesn't feel okay to me.
No,
I'd much rather take the time to hand build.
You're playing the odds, you're playing the numbers, you're playing the data, and I'm sitting here looking at this, and I'll go in and out, like the one I built that's way up there, and I'll tell you why I put each one. I was like, Cam Young usually plays pretty good in majors. He's a long hitter.
Yeah,
he plays well on Sundays in majors. Like, you get these little, and DeChambeau was just priced too low for as well as he was playing right now.
And that's fair.
The live effect,
right?
Yep.
But yeah, Cam Davis. I looked at Cam Davis, and I'm like, is he a guy that I could actually play? And then I looked at his
so many times.
Eagle. That's for Eagle. Scotty Scheffler just eagled the 13th.
Oh my gosh.
He's gonna have a 4-stroke lead. Wait,
that was from earlier. You're getting catfished. You're getting catfished by the replays.
It's got me because I'm sitting here paying attention to AK, and then I look up and I see Eagle, and that was from, I think, yesterday.
AK, are you mid-answer, or are you ready for another question?
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say Cam Davis. The only reason I played Cam Davis is because he was a par 5 machine. That was the only thing he was good at. I'm like, Augusta, you need to play the par 5s well, period.
Yeah.
Bryson caught a lot of crap a few years ago for saying it's a par 68 golf course. But I think, now that we've gotten to know Bryson and everything, I don't think he was necessarily legitimately thinking that he's bigger than the golf course. I think what he was going at is, like you just said, you got to birdie these par 5s. Mentally, this course has to be a par 68 for you to even win this tournament, to sniff it.
Look at what Scotty did yesterday. Scotty was not playing that well. And then on the back 9, he went 3 under on the 2 par 5s.
Which brings us up right. That's why right now it's so interesting. You got Homa. We still have some magic on the par 5, on the back 9. We got Scheffler, Aubert, and Homa all within 3 or 4 shots. And I know
Aubert just birdied one, so he's back within 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, we got some action down the line. But I want to ask you a non-golf related question. But knowing that are you from? So we know that the App State, the football, the background. Are you? And you don't have to give me your dirty secrets. But are you from the Southeast, or did you transplant? Okay. So growing up in the Southeast, and I always preface it with that because I do think because it's in Augusta, it's just something culturally that's probably felt a little bit different down there. I mean, I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina, and Tallahassee, Florida, and Jacksonville, Florida. So that little triangle around. If you could, and I asked our last guest this, if you are chairman AK of Augusta National next year or tomorrow, whatever it is, and you get the magic wand, what are you changing? And what are you freezing in time, saying this is never going away?
Well, I don't want it to get any longer. I'll tell you that right now. I don't think it's changed anything. I mean, look at this. The leaders at 8 under at the Masters, right? And everybody else is kind of fighting around like 4 or 5 under. And like that's how it should be.
Yeah. I agree. I enjoy how hard it's been this weekend, quite personally.
It's beautiful. Like I love seeing guys struggle to get pars and like
my favorite part was Scotty. My favorite part this weekend was Scotty doubling and then like 2 holes later eagling to get right back on the lead. Like that's fantastic.
Yeah, I love Mad Scotty. Mad Scotty's a good golfer.
Right. When your top 10's under par and that's it, the course is set up right. So AK's, we're not lengthening the course.
No.
So we're holding that. Nope. That's sacred. Keep the length and the prices the same for the concessions. What's something you do want to change? What's something that you're like, this would be dope if Augusta National would do this?
I'm pretty pissed that they keep enforcing the wardrobe.
Oh,
rule,
there it is. Yep.
right?
There it is.
The whole
Jason
Jason
Day.
Day versus Sergio Garcia, Hansel versus Zoolander. That's
Yep.
exactly what I thought. I was like, can you just see Sergio and Jason Day walking by each other in the clubhouse? And I just put out the gif of Hansel and Zoolander walking by each other on the runway or whatever that was.
Sure. Sure.
We got to have a little. Come on.
So Chairman AK is going to lighten up a little bit. You can fly your flag. You can let it loose a little bit. We're not going to. It's kind of like Wimbledon, where they are all white. You have to wear all white outfits, and so I think like Serena Williams one year showed up wearing it was all white, but it was skin tight. That's kind of like their thing, where the outfits have to be all white. With Augusta National, they're saying no big logos, no flashy anything, and you're saying, come on, let your hair down, just a smidge.
Well, and
Jason
Day's sweater vest wasn't even like, it was black and white. Technically, it was just contrast, but it was just big letters, and they didn't like the big letters.
I mean, he looked like he was going to the 2003 NBA draft, and I'm like, if he wants to play golf in that, let him play golf in it.
Let him do it. Let him wear the wind pants from 1996. Like, so what? That was actually one of the underrated stories from Thursday when he wore those wind pants. The freaking announcers. The broadcast was all over his wardrobe and those pants, and they thought it was the coolest thing that after every single shot that he had a pocket for his sunglasses that he would take out after every shot to walk up to his next ball. I was like, "What? This is just fantastic. I'm all right with this. Talk about the man's pants pockets more."
Let's exactly right.
Well, remember when they tried to do that with hoodies? They were like, "Our hoodies appropriate for golf," and then the next week, Rory, everybody was like, "All right." Even Scotty Scheffler, Nike was handing him out left and right. Here's your golf hoodie. Here's your golf hoodie.
Yeah.
Listen, he was wearing. They were borderline MC Hammer pants. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, they were. They were very baggy.
Jason Day flat out said when he signed with Malbon, or is it Malbon? Malbon, whatever.
I don't know.
They also have Malbon. Fuck 'em. They also have Charlie Hull, which was a nice pull from the ladies' game. She's a great Instagram follow, good scenery there. But they even said half the reason he signed with them, A, his contract with whoever was up, but B, he didn't like the trend in athletic wear for golfers getting more tight. He's like, I get it. It's athletic wear. It's this, blah, blah, blah. But everything got tighter. He goes, here was a company saying, we want to go loose. We want to go baggy. And he's like, I'm here for it. So good for him.
Holy
and I think
shit,
we're going to.
Here we go.
What hole's that?
Ludwig Gobert on 14 just stuck it within about 3 feet. He's going to have a birdie putt.
Hold on. This is the third time that they've shown him just walking cool as a cucumber, munching on something. He made the turn from 9 to 10. He's giving high fives to the crowd. He's popping like Nutri-Grain bars in his mouth. I hope he wins. Unless Morikawa can do something miraculous, I hope Obear wins.
So while you stepped away, I was actually saying to AK, I think I'm fine with Scotty winning. I picked him to win. I picked Xander, but I also very publicly said I thought Scotty was going to win. But I also said I think it would be a boring win. I wouldn't feel the need to stick around and watch the ceremony because it was expected. I would love to see Obear win for the fact of the first timer again. It's just it would go right in line with the season. The whole storyline of the PGA season this year, Obear winning would just fall right fucking picture perfectly into it.
And it would support something I've been just chirping about this whole time with the live golf thing, which is the PGA Tour's bench is so damn deep and the pool of players is so huge. And the line of demarcation between being just a good golfer and a champion golfer, when you've got thousands of guys who are just pushing that line, put a couple of them on the stage and they're going to pop. And like you said, this is going to be a flex for the PGA Tour to say, this is where you go to be developed into a champion. If you want to get your bag, go ahead and check out the guys over here at Live. Like that's what you're going to get from them. And that's going to be, but you know what? I just find it so ironic that Live wants to put themselves up there when every piece of talent they take, everything they want to do is drawn from the pool of talent that was produced through the PGA Tour.
It's already been developed.
Right. It's kind of like the transfer portal with college football that we're going to see in the next few years. You know, I mean, although UConn with what they did to basketball saying, go ahead, be the transfer portal if you want. I'm going to build a traditional program. But we'll see. But in college football, you know, we saw Saban bounce, for the similar reason where he's like, damn, this is getting different real quick. NIL, the collectives, and the transfer portal. it's a whole new game. So unless you're Kirby in Athens, where you're like, I already got the culture, I got the infrastructure, and you can have your cake and eat it too here. We'll have
and
national
their destination, like
right. So
Yeah.
unless you're in one of those spots, it's going to be tough.
But
Real fast. I say real fast, AJ.
AK.
I'm
You new
sorry.
here?
I know, AK. You're welcome to stick around. I do want to bring TJ in though, because he's been patiently waiting backstage.
My
And
guy.
let's
Oh,
be
yeah.
honest. You and TJ are two guys that I really wanted to finish this tournament with, because I just feel like the four of us sitting around on a couch talking golf, like that's just natural to me. So
oh yeah,
TJ from Scoreboard Addicts, welcome into the podcast. Yeah, I know you've been watching back there. Scheffler just birdied, Aubert just birdied, so he's still got a 2-stroke lead. As Bud continues to adjust my microphone, it has been giving me issues all freaking day, and I can't express my frustration enough with technology right now. Because it's one of those days where I tested it out all morning, because I was like very anal attentive about it all morning, and lo and behold, you show up and set it up and it don't work right. But welcome, TJ.
TJ, good to see you. Welcome in,
you,
my man.
thank you.
What are you sipping on Masters Sunday here?
I just went with a nice old fashioned.
There we
something
go.
to just cleanse the palate, get it going. I mean, all of my bets are doing absolutely terrible, but then again, I didn't bet Scheffler because I just plus 400 to me is not something that grabs the attention, and that's something I would I wagered all of $150. I would have had to put about $150 on him to make it at least fun to win something. The only thing I think I got going right now that's going to at least make me break even is I had Cam Smith top 20 and Patrick Reed top 30 as a parlay. So that's looking
God,
pretty good.
that's a solid pull.
Yeah,
nice
that
little
ain't
live
bad at all
parlay
right
there.
Yeah,
That's
so
how you-
that's
that's a
just
little-
going to bring me back to barely even.
Isn't that what betting's all about? Just surviving. Let's be honest.
Essentially, and you know what? It's messed up because after going into yesterday, I was like, Jesus, what's going on? Rahm just gone, Koepka no show, and
Yep.
I want to be mad at how boring it is for Scotty Scheffler to just do what he does, but it's amazing how boring it is. But it's amazing.
So
That's the thing. I don't want to crap on him because it's ridiculous how consistent he could be with such an odd swing. If you walked into any PGA, pro trainer and said, this is my swing and I can't break 80 to save my life, they're going to be like, all right, we got a lot of work, buddy. I don't know. I don't like what you're doing with your feet. Why are you jumping at the ball? They're breaking you down on a stat by stat level of everything you're doing wrong. And this guy consistently shows up and dominates with that swing. And it's just you know what? Screw it. I want to play my in to out swing. Don't try to fix it. I'm gonna play it. It's not gonna kill me.
Scotty Scheffler ruined everybody who tries to give advice on the golf course to their buddies. Somebody yanks one into the woods and everybody's like, oh, here's what you need to do. And then I just turn around and be like, Scotty Scheffler moves his feet all over the place. You shut up right now. This is how.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, bud. I'm not listening to you anymore, bud.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
Let me show you this
You heard it
TikTok
right.
video. Scotty Scheffler hitting the icky shuffle while he swings the golf club.
Seriously.
So
he ends up a good 6 inches in front of where his feet started. It's amazing.
Yeah, dude, it's
very
unbelievable
amazing.
because it's like he just plays boring golf, everything iron down the middle, iron onto the green, can get it close, lag putt, boom, par, sometimes birdie. But whenever somebody gets close, he's like, watch this shit, on 9. He skips it off the bank and backs it up 30 feet within 6 inches. And it's like, okay, that's,
Well,
It's
even
something
when
that we got to
even-
appreciate in the moment, though. That's what TJ you were saying earlier, where it is ho hum, but you can't get lulled to sleep by the consistency of it. Again, it's almost like MJ, how in the '90s the MVP vote would come up and people started going, "Can we really give it to him?" Well, if he's the best, he's the best. And it's kind of like with Scotty right now, like you said. People come close, and then he just takes 5 steps forward. And if you're on Team Scheffler right now, and somebody walks over to you and says, "Hey, Meredith just went into labor," do you I'm dying. So if you don't know right now, we're on baby watch for Scotty Scheffler, right? His wife's giving good birth any moment. He famously was like, "I'm going to go home. It's my child." I'm dying to know what the actual instructions are. And it's probably Meredith. She's probably calling the shots. And I would think, she's probably going to say, no matter what, you don't tell him until he's done. That's my guess.
Yeah,
that's fair
100%.
enough.
100%.
Who else was on Baby Watch? Was it Sam Burns this week?
Sam Burns.
Was on Baby. Yeah, so he's got nothing to worry about. But because he was a guy that I thought for sure would make the cut, then just fucking shit the bet there. But this is a 2-man race now. Homa is pretty much out of it, even though he laced it down the fairway there. This is Aubert and Scheffler. And I'm here for it. But look, I got a little Masters tradition question for both of you here, because this is something that I actually just learned today, but I put this in the notes and I asked you not to look it up because I'm not sure if you know the answer to it, honestly. You might. I wouldn't shock me if you knew the answer to this, but we'll see if AK and TJ know. Do you guys know how they always have the perfect size jacket ready for the Masters winner at the ceremony? Like, and we're talking 15, 20 minutes, like a jacket that fits perfectly. Do you know how they pull that off? Because it seems like magic.
I would assume they just size everybody up that enters the tournament, right? Like, just here, try this on.
I would have thought that too. AK, do you have any idea? Have you heard it at all?
I think they just have a collection of like 700 green jackets just in a closet.
So it's even more crazy than that. So you're very close though, but basically every Masters member or whatever you want to call them that has a green jacket that's on hand there, they'll walk up to them last minute as they know the winner and say, "Give me your jacket. You fit the closest." They take their jacket off them and go put it on the winner. And then they resize the winner within the following weeks to get them their own jacket. But that's pretty much what it is. Like, it could be freaking Jack Nicklaus out there who just happens to be the closest size to the winner, and they just take his jacket and say, "Jack, we need your jacket. It fits."
What happens if that amateur wins at Lamprecht? Who's like 6'8", looking like Wembanyama out there.
No one's fucking matching that. They're gonna have to custom order that shit ahead of time.
Fucking.
I was gonna say though, not for nothing. I would love to like quietly find out that like, I don't know, VJ Singh had a pocket full of blow and he's like, "Oh shit, I gotta give up this jacket." I don't think so, buddy. You know? Just like, "Hey man, Scotty, reach into that pocket and give me what you're holding real quick."
Could you imagine if it was like somebody's smaller stature, like Brian Harmon sneaks one in there, and they're looking around, they're like, "Hey, Condoleezza Rice, get over here," and all of a sudden you reach, she's got like a couple of dudes just sitting there in the front pocket. She's like, "Hold on, I gotta snag those real quick."
Where's the drive, chip, and putt champion? We need that.
Exactly. Akshay, like when Akshay Bhatia wins this finally, they're gonna be like, "Hey, Junior, get over here. This is the 12-year-old girls winner from the drive, chip, and putt." I did not know that. I mean, I had guessed that there was just a bank of them. What I like about that is that little tweak of, I mean, we were right that, there's just a bank of them. It's the members. Yeah. It's like, hey, you're the same size. I'm really curious, though. Now we got to follow up on this because you do see pictures, like famously Phil Mickelson was spotted at a Dunkin' Donuts the next day in the green jacket. I bet the member, they just loan it out. Like they get a loaner until that official one comes back.
Probably,
Here's the other thing.
Well, yeah, because the Masters champion usually goes on like Good Morning America or something.
Right.
Like,
Patrick Reed, they sleep in it. But you also don't get multiple jackets. Jack doesn't have 6 jackets. Tiger doesn't have 5 jackets. You get 1 jacket, and then from there on out, every year, if you win, they put your jacket back on you. Right. Now, over the years, as you change in size, like Jack might have had 3 or 4 throughout the years as he gets bigger, but you only get 1 jacket. They still say, Jack has 6 green jackets, and that's just that symbolic. But from everything I've read, you don't get 6 actual jackets, but you do, and those guys also share champions lockers. So it's like Tiger Woods is sharing it with somebody else. Horton Smith, because the champions locker room is tiny. It's 2 card tables and a horseshoe of very old school lockers. But it's some of the most sacred ground in all of golf. But that's phenomenal. The Pantone 342 green jackets come from the members.
I want to amend my change. I think this is what I.
We got to ask.
They
TJ
should
too.
Every time you win it. If you win it multiple, you get an extra piece of a suit. And so if you win it 3 or 4 times, you're the only one out there.
You're telling me Tiger's walking around with a cummerbund?
Yes, he's got the pants, the socks, the vest, the shirt, a top hat, a cane.
I only
win it.
That's great.
I only endorse that if you can forego the cummerbund for a vest. I'm not a cummerbund guy. TJ, the game that we've been playing is basically, you are Commissioner TJ. Tomorrow morning, wake up, here's the magic wand, here are the combinations of the. First of all, Masters, Augusta National, one of the best wine collections in the world, by the way. Look that up. One of the best wine collections in the world is at the Masters. Yep. And that's why you can order from there for Champions Dinner. But TJ, if you were a commissioner,
put this on.
My guy.
AK's got his green jacket on now.
if you were commissioner and you could do two things, you could say, I am going to preserve this. We're not changing this thing ever. This is part of, I don't want that touched forevermore. And then the flip side of that, this is something that I want to introduce or change. What would those two decisions be from Commissioner TJ?
Not to be boring, but I think the obvious is the concessions stay the same. You can't where else in the world? Where else in the world can you go someplace like this high profile and eat and drink for like nothing, right? But however, they're geniuses. They know you're walking into that gift tent and gift house and the 35 they have on the property, and you're spending $500 to $1,000 walking out of there with a tiny bag, like you just went to Costco. Like, I just came in for the $5 chicken. I don't know what happened, but my credit card's maxed out. I mean, genius level. You keep the concessions down. Everybody has a good time. Get a little loose. People go in and spend the $100 on the Augusta umbrella and the $75 on the hats. So it may be a boring answer, but
no, that's a great answer. And I actually, my hat, I'm pissed at myself. I've got one of those $35 Augusta hats that a buddy of mine bought me when he went, 10, 15 years ago, and I had to pass up on tickets. Nice. So we're freezing prices. We love that. What's new? What's something that Commissioner TJ's like, this has been missing from the Masters or from the Augusta National Masters kind of experience?
I honestly, to make it fun, I want the par 3 contest to mean something. I don't know what that something is. I would have to think about it. I'd want it to mean something, because the second Fowler one, it's like, well, I guess we can mark him off the bets because the curse is real. Yeah. You're not getting close, buddy.
I think if you win the par 3, you get to pick your starting time on Thursday. And I mean, because let's be honest, it doesn't take a long time for once you have the names and everybody. You can have a freaking AI is going to be picking tee times here soon enough. I mean, I think they do want to know when can we get Tagger on TV the most. They want to know Tagger. We got to make sure we get Tagger. Now, where's Tagger going to be? That's my Tagger for you. They want that, but then the other side of that would be interesting. You win the par 3 and you get to look at that, because maybe if you're this week especially, maybe you look at that weather report and you think to yourself, all right, I got to be first out because I want to just gobble up I want that 65 that Bryson got and get the F out of Dodge, because Friday looks like shit. I like that par 3. It's kind of like make the All-Star game worth something in baseball. So make the par 3 tournament worth
like it used to. Like it used to mean something.
Are you serious with the vest thing? A green vest?
Yes. You get a green vest. You don't get the full jacket. You get a green vest.
So I have to have the cummerbund.
You are showing
the vest is going to be for the par 3. Sorry.
You're very focused on the fashion of the Masters, AK, right now. You are in that zone.
The grass is so green, and all the colors pop, and they're sitting on a gold mine there, and they've got to take advantage of it.
That's fair. That's
very
fair.
For nothing, though, I mean, you're part of an elite crowd, right? You're part of like a group of guys that like nobody else gets to do this. So if you get to like accentuate something, like you're the Peloton in the Tour de France, you're rocking the yellow shirt. At least it's something, if you're not going to win the Masters, you can flex on somebody a little bit. Like, you may have hit the fairway, but look at my vest.
Well,
like
look at
some sort of flex.
Sergio and Jason Day just went scorched earth on social media whenever they were, whenever he looked like a can of Sprite, and Camellia Villegas had the pop collar, like those things took off. Like you don't need the Masters doesn't need any help taking off, but like you want to start adding in there to be like, look, this guy wore a Sam Smith, whenever Sam Smith wore that thing that made him look like basically the queen from Alice in Wonderland or whatever it was. Like, can you imagine like
his inflatable latex suit?
Yeah, like Bryson DeChambeau shows up in one of those, and you're like, wow, he looks great.
Yeah, we do have an update. Scotty did birdie 14, so it's a 3-shot lead back again on Aubert, and Aubert had to lay up out of the woods so he's going to be trying to put it on the green for a birdie attempt on 15 for himself.
And Morikawa is in the trees again. There it is. That's been somebody said it earlier. I can't remember which guest, but it's been inverted.
That shot by Morikawa put it into the trees. I think it was Friday. Tiger hit one down the left side, and the gallery moves out of the way, and Colt Knost is like, come on, folks, it's Tiger Woods. Somebody put a foot out there. I got to tell you, I'm that guy. I laid down and let the ball just hit me. Like, I felt like taking it. I got dizzy. I had to get down on the ground. Like, and then when he walks up, you give him like a little wink. You're telling me like that wouldn't be worth just a moment.
Thanks for the autograph. You just bought me a house. Thank you.
Come on, DeChambeau. See.
Oh, what do you do? Oh, he's not even. He's fucking way back now.
All right, boys. I'm getting a. I have to jump off of here. Nothing's wrong.
That's fine. Hey, I'm sorry. The millionaire dreams haven't quite worked out, but it's been fun chatting with you the last couple of days.
Dude,
and having
this has
you
been
on.
a lot of fun.
We appreciate you having you on, and this is going to be a yearly thing for us. So we'll.
Yes.
There'll be more.
I wish you do it every major. I love doing this, man.
We'll see at Valhalla. We'll see at Valhalla in a month.
Hey, we'll go back into the Millie again. Don't worry, I don't do it all the time, but for the majors, I'm like Tiger at this point. I'm only going to play the majors.
I like it.
We'll enjoy the rest of your Masters Sunday, and thank you again for coming on,
dude. Thank you guys so much. See you guys.
You're welcome. See you later.
Cheers, brother.
All right, TJ. Okay, so TJ, so this is you already brought up the concessions, and rightfully so, because this is something that is the most popular thing about the Masters. Honestly, is the concessions. So I've never actually had one. Is pimento and cheese all it's cracked up to be?
I'm going to ask TJ first. Have you ever engaged in pimento cheese in any way, shape, or form? And then I've got a good answer.
Oh, big time. Big time. I love pimento cheese.
Okay.
One of the best take on a pimento cheese, because I had the pimento cheese sandwich at Tobacco Road down in North Carolina.
I'm
Love
going
that
in
course.
a couple months. Going in a couple months.
Just an incredible piece of land. Are you? It's
going in a couple
it's
of
my
months.
favorite
We're
course.
also
Like
gonna
literally every time. We usually go to Myrtle Beach once a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh God, this delay is getting horrible. But yes,
Yeah,
we're
we
also
have
gonna hit
a
up Hot
little
Hill
delay.
Farms.
So I was gonna say I go to Myrtle Beach. Yeah.
Sorry, man.
So nice. So we go every year. You're good. Every year I drive out of the way in North Carolina to stop and play a little Tobacco Road before heading down to Myrtle Beach, because it's just so worth it. It's an incredible course. But what they do is they put pimento cheese on a hot dog and put little chopped up fresh jalapenos in there, so it's spicy. Amazing.
Oh, that's a different take. That's interesting.
When
I can
I was in-
appreciate the creativity of that.
Oh, Bear. Anyway,
I know he missed the birdie putt.
So my take on pimento cheese, I grew up down there, right? I grew up in the Southeast, and we used to go to a horse race in Columbia, South Carolina, called the Carolina Cup. We'd go every once in a while, and it was a precursor to the Kentucky Derby. And in Columbia, South Carolina, which is famous for basically being burnt down to the Civil War and just never being rebuilt. Famously, they still have the old like state capitol is just an empty piece of land with a sign on it. But anyways, they have a restaurant down there that just specializes in pimento cheese. They put it on everything. They put it on hot dogs. They put it on French fries. They put it on all their sandwiches. It's like their featured thing. And so it blows my mind when I meet people who either don't really know about pimento cheese or anything like that. But the pimento cheese sandwiches at Augusta National, I've been reading. So we're talking about concessions and everything. But I also hear that the quality is not necessarily the greatest. But at the same time, you're not relegated to eating $1.50 pimento cheeses. They do have other options there. But at the end of the day, some guy from Golf Digest did say for the price of one specialty drink at last year's U.S. Open, you could get pulled pork sandwich, pimento cheese sandwich, a lemonade, a this, a that. And I think if you keep those prices down, then yeah, people are going to go to the merch tent. It's all about the merch.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you already essentially have to win the lottery to get to Augusta. Just to be able to be fortunate enough to spend your money and get on the grounds, you have to win a lottery. Like insanity. So the least you could do is absolutely take care of the people once they get there. And Augusta National is famous for taking care of people when they're there, right? And I love the no phone thing. I really do. Everybody is now trapped in the moment. You get to experience it, because guess what? We are all going to be guilty of sitting there the whole time like, oh shit, oh that's 12, let me take a picture of that, let me take a picture of this, let me take a picture of that, oh my god, look at the sign that Bryson threw over his shoulder. Like that thing's getting stolen, by the way, at some point. Some groundskeepers like, yeah, screw it, find me, and they're taking that like this is the one that Bryson slung over his shoulder. I said next year they're going to be selling that in the gift shop for like $1,500, like replica signs and
shaving flakes,
and they're going to sell out of them.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. It's anything that touches that grounds. For a place to be like that, to be so just locked in time, even down to, I don't know if you picked up on this, it comes up every year because somebody always points it out. And then when you look at it, like today, wait a minute, where are all the ball marks? the crew goes out there every night and they replace every ball mark, not with sand. They dig out the piece of sod and they put plugs in so that it's a 100% clean course every single day. And I would say the thing about Augusta National and the Masters, I'm going to answer my own question. If I could freeze something in time, forever about Augusta National, I would think it's the role of the amateur and how they celebrate the amateur. And it goes back to the origins of the game, how Bobby Jones is one of the founders, greatest amateur to ever play. Today, if you're Neil Shipley, and for folks who might not know, Neil Shipley is the low am this year, long hair. He was the U.S. amateur runner-up last year, and he got to play
with Tiger today.
He got to play his final round with Tiger Woods, and watching them come up 16, 17, you saw Tiger actually talking to him, and like they're chit-chatting back and forth. And all I could think of myself is nothing cooler in the world than that. And the inverse of that, I think, is the purity of the PGA Championship, how they say we're going to be nothing but pros, for the pros, by the pros, etc. So the role of the amateur at Augusta National, the crow's nest, everything that they have access to, I think is absolutely gold. If they're going to change anything, I agree with AK and give us some. I would say network television coverage is the best way to put it before 3:00.
Yeah.
I understand their move of saying we own you. Like you're going to have to stream it through our app. And that's what I've been doing all week. That's the only change that I would make. Try to get it out in the Masters a little bit sooner.
Well, that's the thing. I haven't watched a single second of this on CBS or ESPN this week. It's all been on the Masters app.
Yeah, their app is second to none.
Fantastic. It's the best in the game. And speaking of the amateur and the crow's nest, did you see Lamprecht laying in the bed in the crow's nest when he was up there and his feet were hanging off?
Yeah, so TJ, I don't know if you're familiar enough with the Masters lore, but the crow's nest is, literally the cupola up on top of the center. And amateurs are allowed to stay up there. Apparently now most of them will spend like one night there, and then they go to whatever Airbnb or hotel that they've got for the week. But that's sacred ground too. That's something like I in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm 40 years old, 41, whatever. And shout out, this is why I brought it up, because the mid-amateur champion. So if you don't know, the U.S. amateurs, for anybody with a certain handicap or below, U.S. mid-amateur is anybody who's 25 years or older with a low handicap. And that champion usually gets invited. That was Stuart Hegstead. He's like a modern day Bobby Jones in the sense that he's won a couple of these national amateur tournaments, but he's never going to go pro. He's got a successful career outside of that. He showed me a little bit of love I DM'd him saying, give him hell this week, Sunny Sun. He wrote back and just said, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you. Cause I also shot him some love at the Walker Cup. And he told me that the things that we were posting were getting the boys hyped. So the amateur at Augusta National is exactly where it's at. I just shit myself if they're like, hey buddy, you're teeing it up tomorrow with Tiger. It's beyond it. Max Homa, I wish he would have won this week, because that would have been a really cool bookend to his story.
Well, I was gonna say, forget just being an amateur being paired with Tiger. We saw Max Homa get emotional after playing with Tiger on Thursday and Friday, and like that's just that effect. And that's what's cool about the point in Tiger's career he's reached now, is that he's reached that point where he's now just sharing his wisdom. He's breathing into the younger generation of golf now, which, as we've mentioned before, we've seen him grow. Like as we were watching him at his peak, he was so locked in. He didn't talk to anybody when he was in a tournament. It was him, himself, and nobody else. And now to see him out there breathing into these guys, Max Homa, really appreciate it. Like that was cool. So yeah, the amateur part is cool, but hell, Max Homa, that's a guy he needs that extra edge to get over these major championships. He's always in it. He needs that little extra something to have the confidence. And I thought he had it this week. He faltered a little bit today. I thought he was going to do it because he was playing so calm and confident, but I love seeing Tiger taking on that new role in the game of golf and really just bringing life to the younger generation.
Am I the only person wishing that Scotty Scheffler sculls this into the water right now?
Oh, I want this to be closer. It's a 3-shot lead. This is too big for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scotty Scheffler is easily the easiest guy to love.
But meanwhile, so Scheffler just put it in the bunker.
Absolutely. He's
on 15,
he's a gem of a person.
But Aubert's also in the greenside bunker on 15, so on 16. So, Scheffler falters a little bit, and Aubert does the same thing. It's just the hell's in the cards today.
This
delay is wild. This delay is wild.
What's crazy is Scheffler, that one shot Yeah, sorry. You know what? I'm gonna back out and try to come back in.
Do it. I dare you.
Yeah, sure, why
I
not?
dare you. Let's see what happens. This has been a wonderful little time. It's gone fast. Thank you, friends, who are still sticking around with us to wrap this up.
I know.
Once the die is cast, once we know who's going to win, because I will say, yes, Scotty just got out. He's probably got a 15-20. He's going to grow to like a 50-footer for birdie. So even if he were a 3-putt and drop a stroke here,
still though.
yeah,
that
it's
thing's
going to go.
rolling still. Though.
They showed somebody at the beginning of the week trying to basically exhibit how fast the greens were, and that's the spot they dropped the ball from. But if
So let's
Aubert,
see what Aubert does there. That's going to trickle down a little bit too.
Yeah, this is Tiger Woods territory.
Nice. This is going to be nice.
Come on,
it's not going to get there. Yeah, it's not going to get there. But Scheffler with a par, if Scheffler makes par and Aubert with a birdie, we're right back into this with a few holes left. It's not over yet.
TJ, welcome.
How are you doing, TJ? You back? You good?
Yeah, I'm so self-conscious because I start talking and then I hear myself on the side of your podcast coming in like 30 seconds into a point, and I'm like, oh, just threw myself
I'm
off.
sorry about that. I'm gonna blame us since we're off location.
No, you're good.
TJ, we're at a casino in a strip mall. We're at a casino in a strip mall. I shit you not. Next door is like a blinds place, and then I think there's a McDonald's.
It's the Best Fitness. No, Best Fitness. There's a Best Fitness next door.
The opposite.
No,
of
but speaking of that,
I love this place though. That's what I'm bringing it up for. Shout out Gate Casino for having us down here.
Gate City
Casino. My apologies, Gate City Casino, because I'm looking around the floor and it does look like a lot of fun.
You guys should be selling ad space right now.
We should be. We will next time. Come on down to Gate City.
Oh, they're
Casino.
treating us like kings here. Don't worry.
Bring the family, bring the friends. It's a lot of fun. No, this is our Super Bowl, and it's kind of, I would say golf is most like NASCAR in the sense that we all have individuals that are borderline teams that we root for. The biggest tournament or the biggest event of the year is what kicks it off. You know, this first major of the year is really what sets things in motion. And then we're going to be in Valhalla in a couple of weeks, and then we're going to be in Pinehurst, which I'll be down there on site for the U.S. Open in case you missed it earlier. And then obviously we got the Open Championship, which is breakfast and breakfast in bed with birdies. Ooh, we should do a British Open breakfast. But the fact that we've had so many people come through and everybody's had different takes, had different opinions. They're fun. They're all watching and rooting for different things. But the one thing that we've all agreed upon is Scotty Scheffler is inevitable. He's Thanos right now, or Thanos, whatever the fuck. He's that guy. He is him. And Ludwig Aubert is going to win a major this year. You walk into your major career at Augusta National on some of the most difficult conditions in recent memory, and you put out this kind of performance. You stare down Scotty Scheffler, who is, him, quote unquote. And I mean, if it was Morikawa gets it back to 5 under, but it's just too little too late. We're going to see a lot of big names in the top 10, but it's going to look closer on paper than I think it actually feels right now.
It is, and unfortunately, for this to become something of a finish here, Scheffler would need to implode at this point. Aubert only has 2 holes left. We'll see. Scheffler could miss this putt and bogey. It's fairly close, but it's definitely not a gimme on these greens. So we'll see what he does here. But if he hits this with a 3-stroke lead going into Aubert only having 2 holes left, it feels pretty much wrapped up. And there it is. Scheffler hits it. Stays at 10 under with a 3-stroke lead. Scheffler's got 3 holes left. Aubert's got 2. It's feeling pretty wrapped up, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and I forget if we asked you, TJ.
Faltered, what was it?
No, you go. Sorry, you go.
I was going to say, even when he faltered on Friday and he put it in the creek on, what was that, 13? He still managed to not catch the water and being able to put it on the green. So even when he makes the mistake, it's not the explosive mistakes that everybody else seems to be making.
But that's just part of what it takes to be great in golf is you got to catch some good breaks, but you also got to take advantage of the opportunities that maybe you shouldn't have had. And that's part of where I still say, like, why I still saw hope in Tiger this weekend. Like, yeah, sure, he finished not great these last 2 days. But in the way that he made the cut is what I saw is that, sure, his body failed him. The reason why he finished the way he did is because he couldn't walk. Literally, like, just couldn't get around the course in the same way, but still keeping a consistent swing. But he still has the hands. He could still take advantage of moments and situations and very specific shots. And that's what you got to do to be great at this game, is that even when you falter, you got to take advantage of the shots that you may not deserve. Because there's going to be instances where you end up in a position that you may not have necessarily deserved and you got lucky. It's going to come back around. This karma, you got to take advantage of something that you don't deserve sometimes. It's just how it is. And Scheffler's in that zone right now. He's just at that stage of his career where he takes advantage of everything.
The hands, it's funny that you said that, because that's the one thing that I think hurts Bryson. And I was excited to see Bryson at the top, right? Especially like Bud said, he called it a par 67 and he never made good on it up until Thursday. And it was nice to see. However, that roboticness to his swing, it kind of gets away from you at Augusta. You need a certain level of touch and feel. And you see Scheffler making these shots, and even Tiger made a couple shots where it's like he knows exactly how this green's going to roll, and he could do it better, sitting on the ground with no legs, with one arm tied behind his back, than most could do it.
There's actually
that level of feel, I think, is what hurts Bryson with that roboticness and the statistics.
TJ, I think that's spot on, where you say that you can do all the math, you can crunch all the numbers, you can have the algorithms, you can put it all in there, but there's a human element to the game that is required. That's why being a past champion or familiarity or scar tissue in the majors is super important around Augusta National. And yeah, we were talking about Tiger, who could do it. There actually is a great clip of him on his knees at the World Golf Match Play a couple of years ago. He's on his knees behind the green under a bush, left-handed, and he knocks it to 4 feet. And it's like, what? You need that kind of creativity. I think Bryson has that. I think he has that ability, but I think it's almost like he needs to see somebody else do it first before he can recreate it. I don't know how great he would be at the actual from the impetus, creating something out of thin air. He's good at tinkering and kind of, experimenting I couldn't keep it together when you said bulge as many times as you said bulge earlier. I think you were doing it on purpose. I think you were talking about bulge the way that I talked about.
You're talking to the guy who has a weekly video called The Morning Wood that makes very specific jokes. So yes, you're right. I was saying bulge as many times as I could.
Morning Wood gear is great. But yes, I think that Bryson point is valid, which you can't overpower this course. People think that Tiger Woods overpowered it in the 90s, and that's why they tried to Tiger proof it. No, he didn't overpower it. He just workshopped his way around it. And he has the touch and the hands to do that. So
he needs to be creative. He needs to be creative at Augusta. This is over. This is Scheffler's championship. But you nailed it, because I agree. Bryson, there's nothing about Bryson that strikes me as a creative golfer. It just isn't. He's very meticulous. He's very thought out, analytical. It's how he's always been. It's why he made a physical change to his appearance for a while and chose to put on weight, because he did some sort of mathematical equation for a few years that says if he was 30 pounds heavier, he would get this many more yards out of his drive. That's not a creative, fun golfer, in my opinion.
I'm going to go ahead and back up Bryson real quick and actually disagree, because I think what we're getting at, he's known as the mad scientist, or I'm doing the Brandel Chambly thing again, where I'm doing this kind of look at him now. Now listen,
Bryson, I've gotten used to this look.
Well, it's like saying there's scientists and then there's artists, and they both have creativity. It's just they have different environments, different studio. The artist goes to the studio, the scientist goes to the lab. Bryson goes to the lab with the computers versus maybe Scotty, who's out there on the range with just a directional stick or an alignment stick and bags of balls. It's like Tiger said, though. Somebody famously asked him recently, if I want to get better, I'm an amateur golfer, I want to get better. He said, do two things. Stop fucking watching YouTube golf videos for instruction. Tune into Divots and Pivots every Tuesday night on that Sports Podcast Network. TSPN, friends. But the second thing was hit balls. It takes scar tissue. It takes reps, just like this podcasting thing that we do and talking sports and, in betting. And it takes time. You're going to have to lose a lot in sports betting before you actually get a hang for it and start winning, which is also why we always say bet responsibly. Only bet what you can lose and have fun with it. The minute you start thinking about mortgage payments and childcare and shit like that, first of all, if childcare is in your mentality, then you already have other things that you're dealing with. No offense. And I don't mean childcare, I mean child support. But
it's a little bit of a low blow, but that's okay.
You deserve it. But at the end of the day, have fun with it. And golf is definitely on the uptick when it comes to sports betting, because every shot, every week, every tournament, you can count birdies, you can count anything. You can even do a parlay with Cam Smith and Patrick Reed finishing top 20, top 30, and whoever's doing. Is that you, TJ? Is that your parlay that we're looking to hit? That's I wrote that down because Patrick Reed is a lock to be top 30 at the Masters for the next 30 years. And so you just sprinkle in somebody on there like a Cam Smith who is just shortly removed from his major runs. I like that. Nicely done, Andrew. What do you got for me?
Yeah, so I was just checking in on how he's doing in the, but yeah, you're locked in for that. That's solid. You won. You're gonna win that parlay. There's no way Patrick Reed falls out of it. He's at T12 and Cam Smith is at T7. So yeah, that's a success right there, my man.
So TJ's locked for his win. Scheffler looks like he's got this locked in. We're approaching the 3-hour mark. We've had a full slate of guests on this wild wind of a Sunday Masters. TJ, is there any messaging you want to get out there where the folks can find you? What's going on over at Scoreboard Addicts, et cetera, ad nauseum, ad infinitum, before we wrap up at this Masters for 2024?
The hell was that word you just said?
Oh yeah, you can catch us. Gotta spell it. Ad nauseum. Is that 2 words or 3?
It's okay. So I took Latin for 5 years. Ad nauseum, ad infinitum. It's the Latin for to the point of disgust or to the point of infinity.
Okay. It was that second one I didn't know. The ad infinitum. That's the one I didn't know.
Don't try to nerd shame me. Back to you, TJ.
So you can catch us Scoreboard Addicts every Thursday, 8 p.m. on our beautiful TSPN network, right? We usually just run it down with New York sports, very New York City centric. Big Yankee fans, big Ranger fans. Rangers going on a run right now, getting ready for the playoffs. You got Knicks going into the playoffs too. New York City's bumping right now, so
yeah, it's bumping. All right, we'll see.
All right, my guy, we appreciate it. Until next time, give everybody over at Scoreboard Addicts some love. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, man. Hey, look, I think that's going to pretty much wrap this up for us, I think, today. This has been a fantastic time here at Gate City Casino. We still got a couple holes left here, but Scheffler's feeling pretty done on this at this point. He's in position to possibly birdie this, even to push it even more. So, yeah. This
Dust off the jacket, get it out. It's gonna be another Scheffler. By the way, all due respect to Minwoo Lee, Scotty is the chef on tour. Like, let him cook. I'm sorry you tried, but fetch is not going to be a thing. You're not the chef. And everybody who's showing up in those little chef hats for Minwoo Lee, I love it. I think it's funny, but also remember what happened when we let Russ cook. Just let Russ cook. Well, how's Russ cooking now on the second strength for the Steelers? So shout out Scotty Scheffler.
Yep.
Hell of a job, Neil Shipley. Low am this year.
Yes.
Good to see Tiger with 24 consecutive cuts at the Masters. That's a record. His 100th round at the Masters. Vern Lundquist, after 40 years, is going to be signing off at the Masters. So this has been a monumental tournament. This has been a great week for us. Thank you so much for One Night in Pinehurst, for the Basic Bogies, for the Millie Makers, the Millie Goats, Scoreboard Addicts, That Sports Podcast Network, TSPN, all the friends over there. Our boy Brian Kirshner for jumping in on us earlier. That was a breath of fresh air if you missed that. And of course, Keith at the top, kicking it off with a buddy of ours from the Redneck Riviera, just really capped off this Masters week. So once again, coming to you live from Gate City Casino. It will not be the last time we come to you live. We'll keep working on the audio and get that worked out. But in the meantime, enjoy your bets, enjoy the Masters, and we will see you Tuesday night. We're back Tuesday night, right?
As always, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock here on TSPN. And don't forget Bo McBride. Bo McBride did also stop by. So I know you didn't mean to forget.
Bo
him,
underscore
we had a lot of guests.
The Mick Breyer. It was a Mick Big Show. Mick Big Show.
So it's Bo McBig Time.
Bo McBig Time. Bo underscore McBig Time.
Yes.
Thank you, Bo, for joining us.
Yes.
And thank you, Andrew.
Yes, to all our guests, thank you very much. And all of you guys who joined us here live, if you're watching now and you're here with us live, we appreciate the love and the support. You will see us, as Bud said, live again. We're going to want to do this more often. This is a lot of fun for us. We love the love from all you guys. And once again, watch us every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock here on TSPN. We love you. Congrats, Scotty Scheffler. I know it's premature, but fuck it. We predict the future here. And as always, it's the only way to go off. Stay classy, my friends, in the truest Augusta form.